Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was born with sharingan and unlimited chakra. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Arthur Hansen and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Birth of a Team. Naruto was a 9-year-old child, hated by seemingly everyone in his village. Cold eyes glared at him from almost all adults. The ninja of Konoha never attacked him, even though their hatred seemed to be the worst. It was the civilians that sometimes attacked him. Usually just enough to run him off from their homes or business. Hoes, rakes and brooms were favored items of punishment, but this spring, 3 young men were doing a good job of thrashing him. Each hit of the improvised weapon seemed to darken Naruto's normally bright blue eyes. The Anbu watching the fight had lost his father to the attack of the 9-tailed demon, so was following strictly to the letter of the instructions. He would intervene if he felt any serious harm could fall upon the demon container. One of the attackers had graduated from the academy though. And he kept up his practice for self-defense purposes. So while his 2 friends were hitting painfully, he was carefully and methodically hitting more vitals with his rake. None of the attacks were lethal, but they would eventually cause internal bleeding and, he was sure, accidentally kill the demon. Naruto was just a bit too young to really understand what was going on, but he could feel the tightly controlled killing intent. Deep in his blood from his unknown grandfather, a blood talent fought to awaken as it would in any clan. It was hindered by the dilution of 2 generations that did not come from that clan, but all it needed was more power. Chakra pulsed within the demon container as the 9-tail fought to keep his fragile container alive. Inadvertently, it was blackening the boy's eyes. After 20 hits, Naruto's eyes were nearly as dark as coal. Strange swirls were trying to form. Only one eye even came close to forming the comma-like new iris as the blood-red pupil changed. But it had changed. His bright blue eyes were a thing of the past. Stop, the bull Anbu finally ordered. This is your one warning. Never attack this boy again. The Anbu checked Naruto over superficially, seeing only bruises and not the damaged inner strikes of a failed genin. With a shrug, he picked up the demon child and left to take him home. Well, I hope that child dies, the young man that worked at the pastry shop said. Me, too. Naruto awoke the next day, still feeling sore. Man, those dummies really hit hard, he complained. This was not the first time, but it was the worst that he ever remembered. Most people just gave him really nasty looks. He squinted at the sun that was peeking over the forests outside the village. Gonna be late for class. He quickly showered and then made some instant ramen. While it was cooking for 3 minutes, he checked his face for any bruises. And that was when he saw his almost black eyes on his bruised face. The smell of his ramen distracted him. Quickly slurping his noodles, he finished his morning and headed off to the academy as quickly as possible. He was actually slightly early and saw his first teacher, Haruka Yamino. Why, I'm a bit amazed. See, Naruto, you can be a good student. This teacher was only strict and did not seem to hate Naruto, though there was some distance between them. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I suppose so, Naruto said as he scratched his head nervously. Kinda got beat up last night by some jerks. Now my eyes are black. The scarred teacher frowned at that, but at least Naruto seemed okay. But bullies had always existed, of course. Let me take a look. He lifted up the boy's chin to look at the bruising, only to freeze. It was not a black eye of bruising around the eyes, but his pupils were actually very dark blue, almost black. He had only seen something similar when a young student's eyes had seemed to go cloudy. It was found out that his mother had an affair with one of the branch members of the Hyuga just before he had disappeared on a mission. As his eyes had looked normal at birth, the mother had thought nothing of it. Until his bloodline had activated. He had been forced to join the Hyuga sub-house, something he never forgave his mother for. But that had been a few years ago. Well, Naruto, it looks like your eyes are part of some bloodline or other. You might want to talk to the Hokage about it. Haruka knew the Hokage had been watching Naruto very closely. In fact, with those bruises, you should go see him and then take the day off. You mean you are letting me take the day off and all I have to do is talk to the old man? Wahoo. Naruto shouted as he leaped into the air with one fist up. He was off and running, heading to the Hokage's tower. It was not very long at all by the time he got there. The 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was just starting to work on his pile of paperwork. That was when the door slammed open. Hey old man. Teacher Haruka said I should talk to you, the battered-looking boy called out. The old man tipped back his hat of office. Maybe after you close the door. You sure do seem excited for some reason. Naruto slammed the door closed. Yeah, he seems to think I might have down something with a bloodline. All I know is my eyes went all dark. So I see. When did this happen? Hiruzen asked in a fatherly tone. Well, these 3 creeps last night roughed me up. One of them was scary. It was hurting before that Anbu showed up. And I could sorta see things, funny. You didn't see things like glowing lines inside the people, did you? No. Not like that. Like everything slowed down. And something went funny with the color. Like you could see everything and see what was about to happen. The Hokage said in muted horror. Naruto had unlocked the Sharingan at such a young age. Though thinking back on old reports on missions, that did fit with genin teams with an Uchiha in them. If they got into a serious battle or the threat of death, the Sharingans had a high chance of becoming active. It was a defense mechanism to keep them alive, he concluded. Yeah, just like that. So I got a bloodline limit thingy? Naruto asked curiously. The people like the Hyugas were all respected because of their powers. Yes, Naruto, it appears you do. And you must not use it for now. It is far too dangerous. He held up a hand, his face very, very serious to forestall the young boy's explosion of questions and anger. There are people that may try to kill you for this information. In fact, I think I'm going to make this a special S-rank secret. S-rank secret? What's that mean? The young boy asked. It's something only important ninja are supposed to know. As you are planning on becoming a ninja, this will be a good test. You will tell no one but your Jonin team leader after you become a genin. If he decides that you should tell your team, you will. But only if he tells you. There was only one Jonin that Hiruzen could see being their leader. It was time to get Kakashi Haddock to resign from Anbu anyways. You mean I have this cool power and I can't tell anyone? The boy complained. That sucks. But you will do that because you are going to become a great ninja, right? The Hokage asked, pandering to his desires. Yeah. I'm going to have your job someday. You better believe it. He declared. The old man chuckled at that while patting the young boy on his head. For a great many things, it was like nothing would change. For others, there were small changes. Naruto started wearing his goggles to cover his newly darkened eyes. In the classroom, only one girl noticed his changed eye colors. She was confused but mentally tagged it as just one more unusual thing about the boy she was starting to develop a crush on. Other things that changed is that he had ever so slightly better chakra control. Because, in the safety of his home, he sometimes trained his eyes to show the strange change that he could sometimes trigger. It seemed odd to him that he could sometimes get one or two little swirling comma-like markings to appear. Sometimes, when he was sneaking around to do his pranks and had his tinted goggles on, he would watch people with his Sharingan active. Some noticed him, but none saw the strange change in his eyes. And so he learned a little bit. A few minor ninjutsu and he could seemingly copy taijutsu more easily. In the class bars, Naruto was no longer very low in sparring and weapons, but solidly in the upper middle. Sadly, his ability to create illusion clones was very always lacking. And his test scores may have actually been slightly worse. So after his last prank, painting the Hokage monuments with swirls and runny noses, which got him in trouble yet again, he was in class and glaring at his arch-rival Sasuke Uchiha. At least that's what Naruto thought. Sasuke just thought him a pest. Naruto perked up as the girl he fancied looked over at him. Sakura Haruno looked at him and with a smile told him, "Get out of my way. I'm sitting next to Sasuke." That crushed the exuberant boy for a moment, but he decided to act out again in school. He invaded Sasuke's personal space, glaring at Sasuke's face from only inches away, while standing on their shared desk. "What makes you so cool?" Shikamaru decided to teach the fool a lesson. Accidentally, of course. He turned around as if to see what was going on and knocked the two together. Their reaction, and all of the girls' reaction to their accidental kiss was totally hilarious. "Settle down." Iruka called out, trying to hide his own laughter at the kids' antics. "We are going to have a small test on our basics techniques." All of the students grumbled but sat still as each student was called up and asked to cover them with an illusion of the teacher so he could critique it. Naruto pulled a fast one with his sexy technique. He dropped it quickly he saw a tick in the teacher's left eye. "I can do it, really. I was just getting a rise out of you." Very quickly, he made an illusion of the teacher. "Passable, but you have my scar backwards," the teacher warned. "Getting things reversed is the biggest mistake with this jutsu." Oops. After all the kids had managed to pass that test, even Naruto, Iruka dropped the bombshell on the final test, tomorrow. Everyone looked fairly pleased except Naruto, who was slightly panicking. Even the Sharingan had not helped him master that. He knew the signs correctly, but for some reason his illusion clones never worked. Naruto was staring across the open field to his classmates that had all passed and he had not. What use was a cool bloodline when it did not help when you really needed? He slid his goggles down over his face despondently. Above him, the teacher Mizuki smirked. This was going to be perfect. "Say, Naruto. What do you say to a special test so that you can graduate?" "Really?" Naruto asked. That was how he had ended up being tasked with stealing a certain scroll from the old man's house. He had gotten it and was desperately trying to learn the technique which was another clone technique. He almost screamed in frustration deep in the woods at the shed he'd been told to go to. It was starting to get very dark and Naruto was getting desperate. "Naruto, what do you think you are doing?" Iruka called out angrily hours later. "I'm learning a really cool thing so I can graduate." Mizuki said that if I learned from the scroll that he would pass me, Naruto called out gleefully, overcoming his raggedness. He had been practicing for hours, after all. Mizuki? Suddenly, Iruka realized that his student had been set up. When he felt the killing intent spike behind him, he reacted instantly, knocking Naruto away. That left him open for a critical moment, though the 3 kunai that cut into his back. "Teacher?" Naruto called out in confusion. "Naruto," Mizuki called out. "Give me that scroll." "Naruto, whatever you do, don't give him that scroll. He's a traitor." Iruka called out as he slumped up against the wall of a shed. "What's going on?" Naruto cried out in confusion. "Did you ever wonder why everyone hated you, freak?" Mizuki ignored the other teacher's protestations as he landed. "It's because you are the demon that killed so many of their friends and family. You are the Kitsune, the 9-tailed fox demon. That's why everyone hates you. Even your dear friend, Iruka. Because you murdered his parents," he spat out nastily. "No. No, that's not true," Naruto protested weakly. Was that really why everyone hated him? The killing intent coming out of Mizuki was freezing him in place. "Naruto, run!" Iruka yelled out. When he saw that the boy could not move as the traitor threw a windmill shuriken at him, he did the only thing he could, putting him in the way to stop the blow on his Chunin's light armor. His back screamed, but he was not dying yet. "Run to the village as quickly as you can." The young student took off into the woods, slipping his goggles over his eyes to hide his tears. Iruka managed to intercept Mizuki, each pretending to be someone they were not. The more wounded teacher had pretended to be Naruto, while Mizuki had pretended to be Iruka, finding it surprising when Naruto failed to give him the forbidden scroll. They tussled quickly, discovering each other's true identity. Iruka came off worse, but stoutly stayed by his student's side, even as the traitor was about to kill him. Naruto, closer than either teacher could imagine just on the other side of a tree, was crying as he realized that his favorite teacher really did care for him. Under his goggles, 2 marks swirled in each eye as anger and emotional pain filled him. He jumped out, kicking a windmill shuriken from hitting Iruka and knocking the traitorous teacher back. "Keep your hands off him or I'll kill you," Naruto shouted furiously. "You kid. I'm going to kill you, then kill your teacher and leave this stupid village," Mizuki said in the nastiest tone possible. "And probably be considered a hero for all of those actions." Naruto made the hand seal to activate his new ability, anger fueling his chakra. Mizuki could not believe what he saw as hundreds and hundreds of physical clones appeared. "Get him!" the real Naruto shouted. After 5 minutes of beating up the traitor, he released the clones. He suddenly staggered, his eyes aching. That reminded him that he needed to stop empowering his eyes with chakra. "That was amazing," Iruka admitted. He tried to stand up but was too weak right then. "Naruto, come here." As the boy got closer to him, he smiled. "Close your eyes. I have something for you." Naruto swallowed but did as instructed. His goggles were removed and something replaced them. "Huh? Congratulations, Naruto, on graduating." He sagged back down, almost unconscious. "I think we better bandage these wounds, huh?" "Yeah." Naruto got to that immediately, trying to stem the flow of blood. One of the cuts on Iruka's leg looked like it was bleeding pretty badly. He managed to tighten it, but his teacher was still unconscious. "Teacher." After a few minutes where Naruto could have sworn that Iruka's breathing was slowing, he panicked. Making a half-dozen clones, he picked up the teacher and rushed back towards the village. At the entrance, he yelled out, "Help! Help! He's bleeding to death. Help him, please." The guards were surprised and were starting to move to attack or capture Naruto, but with the tears and the wounded ninja, they moved to help the teacher first. The Rad Anbu took Iruka and in a blur headed to the hospital. Just a minute or two later, the Jonin ninja Hiashi Hyuga appeared at the scene. He took in the crying child inside. It was obvious that this was just another prank gone horribly wrong. "You. Naruto Uzumaki. What happened?" he asked gruffly. "Teacher Mizuki tricked me into stealing this scroll. Then he attacked me and Iruka. But I showed him. I beat him up even if he did tell me about the demon." Tears were still trickling down his face. That actually surprised him. Hiashi turned to one of the Anbu. "Follow his trail. If this Mizuki is there, arrest him and bring him back." So that was what the Hokage had meant, that the issue was resolved by Naruto. "Do not speak of that again. I must have heard you incorrectly, as talking about that is punishable by death. No exceptions." Naruto blinked at that, not understanding. "Will teacher be alright? If he makes it through the night, perhaps. That is part of being a ninja, being ready to face death. You should head home. I will take the scroll back to the Haki." He held out his hand imperiously for the scroll that was nearly the size of Naruto. Okay. Sir." Naruto hated this. The next morning, a different teacher was at the front of the class as Naruto walked in as he yawned and rubbed his eye. "What are you doing here?" Sakura asked with a frown. That frown grew when she saw the metal plate with the Konoha leaf around his neck. "You didn't graduate." "I did too. But it's because of what happened last night." Teacher?" Naruto asked worriedly. "Is Iruka going to be alright?" The older female Chunin nodded. "You must be Naruto. He'll be fine, he's just going to be in the hospital from that traitor's attacks." The Kunoichi then stood up. "Alright, quiet down. We are going to be assigning you to your teams." Naruto tuned out everyone as he hoped for Sakura to be on his team, while wishing with his whole heart for Sasuke to be on anyone's team but his own. "Sakura Haruno. Naruto Uzumi Aki. Sasuke Uchiha, you are on team 7. The older woman looked around, then shrugged. "Wait here for your team leader." She then continued on for the last 3 teams. All of the other teams were led out by their new team leaders and she left shortly afterwards. After an hour, Naruto finally had enough. "Where the hell is this jerk?" he shouted as his leaf symbol jangled around his neck. As normal, he still had his goggles on his forehead. "I'm sure he has his reason for being late, dummy," Sakura said, glaring at the boy. Sasuke was just ignoring them both. As far as he was concerned, they were both just in his way. Naruto quickly went to the door of the classroom and carefully lodged a chalk eraser up at the top in such a way that it probably would not be noticed. 2 minutes later, and a bit more sniping back and forth between Naruto and Sakura, someone opened the door and got a hair full of chalk dust. The silver-haired man looked younger than his hair would suggest. His left eye was covered by his ajar head protector and he had a mask covering the lower part of his face. Glaring at the 3 children that were all pleased with him being pranked, he stated, "My opinion of you is I hate you all." That just seemed to get them all riled up. "Meet at the Remembrance Monument in 10 minutes. Do not be late." With that, he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. "Great, dummy. Good job alienating our team leader," Sasuke said darkly. "We better hurry," Sakura said in a worried voice. She was not totally sure she could run that far in that little of time. What a jerk. But Naruto led the charge out of the main part of the village and to the monument. In front of them was Kakashi, looking over the monument as if merely idly wasting time. "Introduce yourselves. Likes, dislikes and hobbies." Why don't you go first, teacher?" Sakura said as she smoothed her short red-pink dress over her short pants. It would give her a little bit more time to catch her breath. "Fine. I'm Kakashi Haddock. I like some things. And dislikes others. I have some hobbies." He seemed utterly bored. "You didn't tell us anything but your name," Naruto exclaimed while pointing at the Jonin. "You?" Kakashi said while ignoring Naruto, pointing at Sakura. "My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are," she said as she peeked at Sasuke. Then she looked at Naruto. "My dislikes are," then she thought for a moment. "My hobby is learning trivia. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I love ramen. I like it even better when Iruka pays for it. I hate waiting 3 minutes for ramen to cook." Naruto seemed to take a deep breath. "My dream is to surpass any and all Hokages to get the village to acknowledge how great I am. My hobbies are pranks, I guess." The entire rest of the team blinked at that. With a cool smirk, Sasuke started. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate many things and like very few others. I don't have any dreams," he said with a cold voice. "My only ambition is to kill a man. And rebuild my clan." He seemed to add the last bit as an afterthought. "I brought you here for part of your first lesson and test to become genin." Kakashi gestured at the monument. "You all know what this is. This is the monument to the fallen defenders of Konoha. You can almost certainly expect to find your name here. My team leader and one of the members of my first team are both listed." "HNN. Sounds like he was weak," Sasuke said with a disparaging tone. "You are speaking of the 4th Hokage in Uchiha, boy," Kakashi said harshly. "Your pride is going to get you killed. It nearly did that to me." Teacher?" Sakura asked. "You mean your Jonin was Minato Namikaze? I didn't know he took on a team. We were supposedly one of the most promising teams, but we were pushed to active duty too early. It was the last great shinobi war after all, and everyone was needed. I was a prodigy, but was also a rule-bound." Kakashi ignored their surprise. "Rin was a pretty young medicine nin. And Obito was probably the nicest Uchiha in existence. But because of my actions, Rin was captured. I ordered Obito to continue on with the mission with myself. He disobeyed and went after her." What happened?" Naruto asked, gulping in suspense. "I broke off the mission and saved Obito's life from a sentry at the loss of my left eye. We both went in and then rescued Rin. That's when it went really wrong. I missed one of their more powerful ninja. He set off a trap and Obito saved me at the cost of his own life. With his dying breath, he told Rin to give me this," Kakashi snapped, revealing his hidden left eye. The sharingan was spinning with its full 3 tomo, disturbing all of the students. And it was because I was too stupid to use the 4th Hokage's kunai like he told me. My best rival, who was really my best friend, was dead because I thought I was better than my team. Why are you telling us this? Sakura almost screeched out. Why? I'm giving you a dose of reality. Ninja die. I've never seen more than one that retired. And he didn't stay retired. Kakashi walked up to the monument, touching the names on the rock. Your lives are going to depend on your teammates. Sasuke said dismissively. The slap that resounded through clearing from Kakashi's slap to Sasuke's cheek seemed deafening in the clearing. Attitudes like yours will get you and your teammates dead. Do you want to see your name on here before fulfilling your duties? Kakashi asked. Right now, you're less than trash. The first mission against Ninja would see you dead in a split second. I don't need anyone, the last Uchiha said in a cold, bitter anger. Then you might as well quit being a ninja. Your ambition is totally beyond you. You might be a prodigy, Sasuke Uchiha, but the man you want to kill was a genin already at 10. And a chunin at 12. And an anbu at 15. He's just going to be getting further ahead of you. Kakashi was lecturing the red-faced boy when a whirlwind descended upon him. What? In a spatter of blood and sand, his body was ripped apart as a ninja in sand-colored robes appeared. His hidden village's symbol had a strange mark sliced through it. Huh, I thought the copycat ninja would be tougher. I guess you people from the hidden village of the leaf are just weaklings. So it looks like I can toy with you. His killing intent was so massive that the 3 genin in front of him could not even move. He made several hand seals too fast for any of them to catch. Bars of sand appeared around the clearing, making a wall 20 feet tall. I am Undudo the Sandstorm. I will make you scream for mercy before killing you, the robed ninja said. He reached within his belt and pulled out a long needle. A senbon. It takes a lot of killing for people to die with this. He suddenly dashed forward and shoved the point into Sasuke's stomach in an amazingly painful place. How dare you? Naruto shouted as he managed to get his feet to finally move and charged Undudo's back. For that effort, he received a jab in each bicep that disabled them in incredible pain and a kick to his stomach. Being loud won't help you, shorty, the sand ninja said in a snide tone. And look, you can't make any hand seals. He dragged the needle painfully across Naruto's neck, leaving a red mark. Swish. You just died. There was a horrible laugh that left Naruto weak-kneed. In a burst of sand, he disappeared from all of the gen in sight. A wall of dust appeared around the edge of the clearing. You 3 have no chance against me. Even working together, you can only prolong your suffering. Come on, jerk. Don't just stand there. Naruto shouted as his arms twitched. Sakura finally took a single step. Then another. Sasuke was sweating and was seriously thinking of ending his own life. Some rookie of the year. You're a pathetic loser, Naruto shouted into Sasuke's face. At least I tried. Sakura screamed as her shoulder was pierced, numbing one shoulder. The blur behind her disappeared. We need to protect our backs, she cried out. Alright, Sasuke said in a shaky voice. Naruto was starting to flex his tingling hands. He had no idea on how impossible that was, even as he slid his goggles down over his eyes. Does anyone see him? Sasuke and Sakura were looking around frantically. They both cried out as they saw a figure appear and pointed in 2 different directions. Clones. Naruto and Sakura chorused. Well, 2 can play that game, Naruto said as he suddenly created a dozen clones. We clones are just a drain on your stamina, Undudo said from the spinning wind as all of Naruto's clones popped. A needle appeared in Sasuke's leg, faster than he would have thought possible. The whole egg went numb and he almost collapsed. The Uchiha must have become weak if you could not even block that. That got Sasuke mad as he grabbed the needle and pulled it out. We need to escape. He felt a strange burning in his eyes, not realizing that 2 tomo had appeared in each eye. There is no escape. Your future is only death, the haunting voice said from within the sand. Another needle flashed out but was knocked out of the air by Sasuke before it could hit Sakura's neck. Follow me. Naruto shouted. His own sharingan was finally active, though unsteadily. He created twice as many clones and then charged the nearest edge of the field. Half his clones were destroyed before he got there, but the rest suddenly grabbed the real genin and then threw them up into the air. Naruto made more another hand seal while they were all in midair, creating more clones that grabbed them and then threw them over the sandbars at the edge of the clearing. They all tumbled into the grass and in between trees. Kakashi suddenly appeared in front of them. And you pass your test. With a wave of his hand, the sand all collapsed. What the hell? You nearly killed us for that. Naruto shouted in anger. You were not in real danger unless you failed to work together. Your team was stronger than the test. Teams are always stronger than a single ninja. You had best remember that. Kakashi had his protector over his sharingan eye as he made that point to Sasuke. And congratulations, Sasuke, on awakening your sharingan. You knew. Sasuke panted. For just a test, that was beyond terrifying. What sort of test was that? One that was specifically created for this team and its members. Kakashi leaned back against the nearest tree. If it's any consolation, this was not my plan. I was just going to use the standard bell test. What? Who would think of such a drastic test? Sakura asked as she held her numb arm. I'm not at liberty to say, but it was approved to the highest levels. If you had failed this test, you would have been sent back to the academy. And most likely sent home if your failures continued. You all have weaknesses that need to be corrected. Sakura, you are very smart, but you are not very dedicated in your training. You are using your best skill instead of shoring up your weakest traits. Naruto, you have no discipline. No matter how much you care or how strong your will is, if you don't take this seriously, you will die. And you, Sasuke. You have the worst problem. You think you are better than you are just because you are the best of your class. The Hokage assigned me to you and gave me some very specific instructions in how to train you. If you fail your training, I will send you back to the academy. Even if you've been genin for 6 months. His one visible eye was hard as granite, making them all wince. Sasuke looked like he had been kicked in the stomach multiple times. Naruto looked like he had just found out there would never be any ramen again. And Sakura was on the verge of crying. But if you follow my directions, I'll make you the best ninja you can ever hope to be. No goal will be impossible. The older ninja relaxed suddenly. Go home and rest up. We have training at dawn tomorrow and then our first mission. Then he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Sakura looked at the spot he was at. Do you think he was serious? As a heart attack, Sasuke said slowly. That was brutal. You guys want to get breakfast? It's still early, Naruto offered in an almost timid voice as he slid up his goggles. Say, Naruto, why do you wear those? The young Kunoichi asked. It's a secret. I'm not supposed to say, he replied with a shrug. His hands were shaking if he released his fists. Sasuke almost said something biting, but stopped. He rubbed his pained eyes for a second. I guess we all have secrets, don't we? He stuck his hands in his pockets as they headed to one of Naruto's favorite places. The next month was hard on the new genin. More than once, Sakura thought about quitting. The only thing that did not stop her was that after she managed to hit Sasuke once during a spar, he started to slightly respect her. That was a quantum leap upward in his attitude. Naruto took Kakashi's suggestion to think about his wardrobe and if it was worth dyeing over orange, actually did get the boy with the strange marks on his face to decide that maybe a bit less orange was needed there. Still, his outfit had an orange stripe here and there. Which actually got a snide compliment from Sasuke about not wearing a target. Sakura felt the Jonin's eye on her while they were talking. Though he never said anything. But it was obvious what he was trying to convey. The next day, her outfit was a lot more subdued, though not totally without her trademark pink. She was a girl, after all. After Sasuke gave an almost identical snide compliment, she almost turned all of her clothing in for black. This day, she had an hour before they were supposed to meet for a D-rank mission and she was twirling her long pink hair. Over the last month, she had come to a realization about Sasuke. He did not like girly girls. She had noticed a few grimaces as Sasuke had seen a few civilians in very fancy dresses. Mom? Can you come help me? Sakura called out. What's going on? The matronly Mrs. Haruno asked. I think I need to get my hair cut short. This really isn't a suitable style for a Kunoichi that is going to have to fight, now is it? She hated this, but there were way too many reasons for doing it and too few reasons other than she liked having long hair. That color is too bright. You probably need to dull it down, too. I'd suggest a brown or an auburn. I don't think we have time for that today. I actually dyed mine black when I was a ninja, but I think it made me look too pale, her mother said as she played with her daughter's hair. Sakura opened her mouth to explain she was only talking length when it hit her what she was actually saying. Maybe. Her inner voice yelled angrily about her lovely hair. I'm very impressed, Sakura. It's very hard being a serious Kunoichi. I didn't think you would stay in as long as you have, Mrs. Haruno said as she gave her daughter a hug. Sakura blinked but felt very warm at the compliment. Thanks mom. One quick haircut later and she was running towards the meeting spot. Naruto saw her and blinked. You cut your hair. Idiot. That's obvious, Sasuke said, barely looking at her. It was too long and it was harder to fight seriously with it, she replied, making a so-so gesture as if to say it was not that big of a deal. The good decision, Kakashi said as he appeared. Come on. They entered the Hokage's tower and to his office where different ninja were doing paperwork. The Hokage was smoking his pipe as he looked at lists of missions. Kakashi, the old man said, his eyes hidden under the edge of his ceremonial hat. I have an assignment for your team. The Jonin seemed bored, but his eye was watching the scroll that the Hokage was reading from. It was not D-rank mission scroll. Hiruzen nodded. This C-rank mission is to escort a caravan to a trading station on the edge of the Fire Country. All three genin were watching very closely all of a sudden. Kakashi just nodded. We'll take it. They received the paperwork and were told to report to the north gate of Konoha bright and early, as the caravan would be leaving as quickly as possible. They went to a nearby roof. It seems the third Hokage has decided that you guys are ready for some tougher challenges. You should take that as a compliment, their Jonin leader said. Everyone prepare a pack and get ready. Naruto, I want to talk to you before you leave. Naruto waited for the other two to leave. You have a really cool jutsu you are going to teach me finally. He shouted excitedly. No, this is a dress down. You know the Hokage ordered you to not use your eyes. Sasuke almost caught you that last spar. He's been trying to figure out why you use those goggles, Kakashi said in his oh-so-cool tone. Huh. Guess it shouldn't surprise me the old man told you. Naruto thought for a second. Beside, he made it S-rank secret that I couldn't tell anyone but my genin team. Well, with your permission. I'm not telling him anything. I'm just trying to be stronger. Letting them find out at the wrong point could destroy this team, he pointed out. What? We just got working together good. How could it destroy the team? Naruto exclaimed in worried anger. Because, right now, Sasuke feels that being the last Uchiha is the linchpin to his existence. You being related to him. What? What do you mean by that? The young boy demanded. You didn't realize that. Your mother must have had Uchiha blood in her line somewhere. Probably her mother or father, otherwise. How do you know that? Naruto asked in confusion. No one ever tells me about my family. Just that I'm an orphan. Kakashi was thinking far more furiously than his laid-back exterior would suggest. With a casual-seeming shrug, he said, I met your mother. Uzumaki isn't exactly a common Konoha name. Being that she was from the land of whirlpools. Could you tell me her name? The young blonde asked desperately, his expression so earnest and sincere. It's Kushina Uzumaki. I think she was a war orphan from that destroyed land. Kakashi turned slightly to look off into the distance. She never showed those eyes, so it must have jumped generations. But like I was saying, her mother or father was probably a Uchiha. So I'm one too. That makes that stuck-up jerk my cousin. Naruto was somehow alternating between very happy and very dejected. I've never had any family. Kakashi decided to use this reason to learn more about Naruto's family. Well, I could try to find out who your Uchiha relative was. How about that? Sure. Naruto was then let go to ready for their first C-rank mission. It would not be until far later that Naruto realized he forgot to ask about his father. It was evening of their first day as caravan guards and Team 7's genins were getting to be a bit footsore. Alright. They are setting up camp, Kakashi said, nodding to the wagons that were pulling off the road to an open clearing. So we have a bit of time to practice. Oh, Naruto. I think we might have figured out who your grandfather was. Sasuke just rolled his eyes. Feh. Really? Naruto asked in extreme happiness, even getting Sakura slightly excited. I think he was a missing nin named Numereha Uchiha. The bounty hunters caught him as he was about to get on a ship for the land of water about 30 years ago. Sasuke had spun around in shock. The stupid idiot is my cousin. He blurted out in confusion. I suppose so, Kakashi said in a bored tone. Right now we are going to work on a little bit of tree climbing. We already know that, Naruto exclaimed in a loud boisterous tone. Sasuke was in agreement as he had to agree with the idiot. Perfect. Climb that tree right there without you hands and I'll send you to the cook for supper, the older ninja said, pointing at a large tree. Say what? Without your hands? That's not possible. The young blonde said in shock. Then I guess you need this training then, don't you? Kakashi walked over to the tree and started walking up the side as casually as if he were merely walking up a hill. This will help your chakra control so you don't waste as much. Wasting chakra, Sakura said in thought. Kakashi threw 3 kunai to land in front of his genin. Use these to mark your progress up the tree. Push your lower chakra into your feet to stick to the tree. Naruto watched his two teammates as they started up. Sasuke just grabbed the blade and charged up the tree, only to fall back down with a flip. Sakura, though, made a hand seal, then started to walk up the side. His mouth dropped open as he watched. The dark-haired Uchiha looked over to see Naruto staring in shock at Sakura, who was nearly to the top of her tree. He was suddenly staring at the girl in befuddlement. She did that so easily. How was that possible? Naruto tried to focus, making the same sign. He would try to duplicate what the girl was doing. She was obviously taking things seriously with that new haircut and dyeing her hair darker. Utterly intent, he tried to walk up, falling after 3 steps. I wouldn't think Naruto would catch on so quickly, Kakashi said as he was reading his erotic novel and obviously not ignoring his students. I guess there is an Uchiha that can figure things out without it having to be spelled out. Sasuke glared but took a moment to really think over the Jonin had said. He stared at the base of the tree a second. The other two were going up so slowly. Sakura had made it to the top, but Naruto was barely getting anywhere. And slowly. Slowly. With a frown, he realized that Naruto was trying to walk up the tree, unlike his running dash. And Sakura had walked upwards. The goal was not to get up the tree. The goal was to walk up the tree. With a frown, he started to slowly move up the tree, falling after 4 steps. I'm impressed. While Sakura might be the closest to her goals, you two are picking it up a lot faster than I would have thought, Kakashi said in flat tone. He closed his book. I am going to check the perimeter. Once I get back, we'll have supper. For the next 2 hours, they practiced seriously. Sakura was quite happy to show off for that first hour, proving she was not useless. The second hour, she started to run into a problem when she tired out. She steadily got worse while the 2 boys started to slowly gain on her. How can you keep going? She complained. I'm not so weak, am I? I've always had a lot of stamina. And I heal quick, Naruto was quick to point out. HNN. Sasuke really did not care, but he decided to answer. The Uchiha have to have a lot of chakra to run the sharingan. Yeah, just keep practicing and you'll get stronger, Sakura. The boy with a whisker mark said encouragingly. But the swirl of leaves, Kakashi appeared. You all have strengths and weaknesses. The trick of a good team is learning what they are so that your team can overcome all obstacles. Let's break from this for supper. Then we'll go over sealing your backpacks into scrolls. The 4 ninja headed over to the 2 wagons that were the portable kitchen. The fat guy was finishing up the supper, giving them their not very large portions. Wish it were ramen, Naruto groused. The really old man in robes sitting next to the cook's campfire just laughed. That's pretty funny, boy. This stir-fry is better than just ramen. What do you know, old man? The blonde boy shouted. I'm the great sage Akira the Wise. So I know these things, he said, his long and thin Fu Manchu mustache waggling theatrically. Strange, I don't remember any Akira the Wise from any of the hidden villages, Kakashi said calmly. That's because I'm no ninja, you fool, the old man said. I am Wu Gen. Kakashi just raised an eyebrow at that. Really? It's nearly a lost art. Mostly because of the ancient sage of 6 paths. He was a pioneer, refining the scattered secrets of the land into what you ninja call ninjutsu. Hardly anyone even realizes that it came from our older, more primitive practices. Akira pulled out a long pipe and started lighting it with sparks he conjured. That means someone did remember though, right? So who was that? Sakura asked curiously. Hiruzen was the last boy I remember asking. And he said. The old man. Naruto blurted out in shock. The 3rd Hokage. He wasn't much older than you when I saw him, the really old man said. He took a puff on his pipe. Besides, young ninja like you probably don't think you can learn anything from an old man. Well, I'm having a hard time learning to walk up trees, so I don't know what you have that can help. You never know, Akira said. Kakashi sent them off to bed at that point. He would take the first watch. That was basically the way their trip to the northern border near the border of the Land of Lightning went. It was a day out that all of the genin noted that Kakashi put away his book. Sasuke, you and Naruto take the bandits on the left. Sakura and I will take the right. The bandits charged out of the light woods and shrubs, trying to intimidate the ninja team. What they received, however, was a severe thrashing as the young genin showed their skills. Kakashi was evaluating his team, noting their skill in a real combat situation. The large man with a katana that was leading the attack was frowning. These were obviously better ninja than he had thought. If they had been a little older, his group would have never attacked. They were skilled, but not that skilled. He would kill their weakest one in revenge for his lost comrades, then fade into the forest. He appeared, moving so fast that Sakura barely saw him appear. She was just turning and pulling back when she saw the katana headed to her face. In a blur, Kakashi appeared even faster than the Ronin, who never even saw him before his neck was shattered. Sakura screamed, holding her hand over her bloody left eye. Sakura? Naruto asked, turning away from his opponent who quickly slashed his arm. Arg. Eyes on the fight, idiot. Sasuke shouted. With a quick set of hand seals, he spat out a large fireball that killed 2 bandits. Naruto suddenly created over 200 clones. Get them. He shouted, even as he headed over to Sakura's side of the caravan. Kakashi was finishing killing the bandits when dozens of Narutos showed up. We'll finish up here. You help Sakura, he called out, ignoring the blood dribbling down his arm. In just a minute, the rest of the bandits were defeated by the swarm of blondes. Kakashi was holding her face up to look at her eye. It just barely nicked. Hold still, I'm going to try to heal that. I'm not a very good medicine nin though. After he was finished, he quickly wrapped up the eye. This will have to do until we can get back to Konoha. Am I going to lose my eye, Kakashi? She asked in a worried voice. No. Not at all. but it may be a little weaker after it is properly looked at. Naruto was grasping his arm to stem the loss of blood. He felt terrible, as if there should have been able to stop that somehow. "What's wrong, idiot?" Sasuke said from where he was leaning against a wagon as the caravan workers cleaned up the path. "I should have been able to stop that. She got hurt. And it is not your fault." "It's not even Kakashi's fault," Sakura said as she touched her bandaged face. "We fight and kill. And that means we sometimes get hurt, too. I'm not just a pretty face." In spite of himself, Sasuke was impressed. "She's right. Well, she got hurt, it could have been much worse." But Naruto was not sure how to convey his anguish. "I'll be fine, Naruto." Sakura was touched by his caring. That stopped her as she realized both of them had cared for her. And she was having a hard time telling who she liked more because of that. A small border town on the southern edge of the Land of Lightning was nothing very special. In fact, it appeared that normally it was very quiet until visitors arrived. The four ninja handed over the security to the soldiers of the local lord. The caravan was going to continue onward into the Land of Lightning, but ninja of the leaf were not welcome there most of the time. As they traveled through the bustle to a stout stone-walled inn, Kakashi noted a cloud ninja from the Land of Lightning. They both nodded to each other. It was not that long ago that their nations were not friends. They were sitting up in their room, and Sakura was getting ready to pound Naruto later that evening. "No, I don't need anything. No, you cannot carry anything for me. I have an eye wound. My arms and legs work fine, you idiot," she shouted in his face. "I don't need help eating." Sorry. I'm just trying to help," he said with a nervous scratch of the back of his head. Sasuke said where he sat in a window, watching the village street below. He suddenly dodged as a kunai came through the window to strike the bedpost. Tied to the weapon was a piece of paper. Wrongly assuming it was a tag, Naruto created 6 clones. 3 jumped on the weapon, while 3 went to stand in the way between the explosion and his teammates. And then no explosion. One of the clones picked up the kunai and pulled off the piece of paper. A message for you, Kakashi." The Jonin took the note. Standard ranting death threat for killing his brother. How bothersome. "So what are we going to do?" Sakura saked, her one eye looking at him intently. "We are not going to do anything. He probably recognized me on the walk over here. I'll go spring his trap. You are all staying here." At their rebellious looks, he rolled his eye. "Don't make me tie you all up." Whatever." Sasuke moved so he could see out the windows facing to the south. Kakashi dashed out the window and headed over the rooftops to his murderous meeting. It was only his supernal awareness that allowed him to dodge a lightning tag trap 2 minutes later. "So you are Hitomi? I would suggest you consider dropping your vendetta. I do not want your death to hurt your family more," the ex-Anbu captain said in a grim tone to the Chunin cloud ninja on the roof to his left. The two started flashing through hand seals, readying their ninjutsu. Naruto was just sitting back down as Sakura was carefully using a kunai to scrape the glass from the broken window into a pile. So the explosion off in the distance while a ninja burst into their room from the southeast window was totally surprising. Before even Sasuke could blink, a hard 4-knuckle was buried in his stomach hard enough to fold him over, somehow robbing him of the ability to breathe. The ninja from the street earlier smashed a punch into Naruto's face while kicking Sakura in the face on her wounded side. "Do easy. Kakashi, we will have to honor you for bringing us the Sharingan to the Land of Lightning," the cloud ninja said in a terribly nasty tone to the Nina's team. "Let him go," Naruto said as he staggered to his feet. "Stay down, kid. You're just a genin. I don't want to have to kill you for the Sharingan," the Chunin said. "I won't let you take him." Naruto created a ton of clones. "Get that bastard," they shouted. The cloud Chunin almost panicked at the number of chakra clones. That should not have been possible. Clones started to pop as he started fighting the group. Seeing a Naruto hanging back, he threw a kunai with lethal intent that popped that clone. "Fire Blossom!" Naruto shouted as he threw the minor flame attack. The Chunin hissed in pain. These brats were being a lot tougher than he had expected. It was time to grab the kid and run. He was just reaching down for the curled up Sasuke when he leaped away as a brace of kunai nearly hit him. "Oh hi, Naruto!" Sakura shouted as she charged into the melee. She barely cut the Chunin when Kakashi reappeared with his first attacker in a headlock. The Chunin was slammed down and unconscious in a single move. The ex-Anbu looked at everyone. "You guys did alright for being surprised and on the other end of an ambush." Gasping and coughing, Sasuke just glared at his team leader. "This is why we have teams. A well-planned attack can take out almost anyone, but a team watching your back may give you enough time to get back on your feet." Kakashi started to strip the 2 Chunins of their weapons and then tied them up. Sir? Why do you keep emphasizing how important our teamwork is to Sasuke?" Sakura asked as she sat on the bed of the inn room. "That's easy. It's so he learns that with his team, that his ambition to kill his older brother is much more likely. instead of thinking that he's the only one that can or will take out Itachi Uchiha. The Jonin leader seemed as calm as if he were talking about the weather. "I have to kill him," Sasuke declared in a cold snarl of anger. "No, you want to kill him. Unless you are declaring that you are the only one that can take down the S-rank criminal. I think the Hokage and all the other senior Jonin might have a bone to pick with you about that," Kakashi said as he finished time the enemy ninja with wire. Sasuke did not look happy, but just looked away while he held his stomach. "S-rank? What does that mean?" Naruto asked. He was pretty sure it meant most dangerous type of criminal. That's actually a good question. S-rank criminals are kill on sight or flee if you can't kill them. And considering you are just genin, that means you run." His one eye was almost twinkling at his team, seemingly as if it were a smile. "Kill or flee?" Sakura asked. "How would we flee someone like that?" "I guess we'll have to work on that all the way back to Konoha," their leader said with a hidden smirk. Their trip back the next day was tiring and degrading as Kakashi ran them into the ground the whole way back. It was a week later and Team 7 had finished their latest mission. While they were professional about stalking the cat, even Sakura thought it was just wasting time that they could use training. Kakashi had left them to their own devices and they were grabbing a bite to eat at a little street cafe. Naruto had a bowl of ramen, of course, while Sasuke had bowl of spicy stir-fry. Sakura was eating a bowl of rice with meat on top of it while reading using her new glasses. "So, Sasuke, why don't you introduce your new teammate?" Ino Yamanaka asked as she tried to drape herself over the last Uchiha. "I know she's changed her looks a bit to be a more serious Kunoichi, but that's still Sakura," Sasuke said as he blocked her from grabbing him. "That's Sakura?" Forehead? Ino asked in shock. Her two teammates were taking the last two end seats behind her back. "Hello Piggy." Sakura had a smirk at the other girl's dumbfounded look. "You are looking very girly, aren't you?" "HNN." Sasuke could fit a lot of mirth in that single sound. It appeared that Sakura had finally figured out that he hated girly ninja. So she was just being smarter about being a fangirl. He was not sure what to make of that. Naruto was just watching the confrontation, his dark blue, almost black eyes curious. "So, you decided you were so ugly that you had to do a full makeover?" The blonde Kunoichi taunted. "It's called not being a target," Sakura said with a roll of her eyes under her darker red bangs. Strangely, people were treating her more like an adult now that she had dyed her hair. It was a nice change, in her opinion. Her inner self had finally switched to agreeing, especially after Sasuke had made that almost compliment. "Hurrah. How bothersome," Shikamaru Nara said at the end. Ino was obviously picking a fight here. Koji Akimichi just settled his bulky body in place, ignoring the impending fight. He was far too concerned with eating. Their team leader, Asuma Sarutobi, was watching from the end of the cafe, chatting up the cook and owner as there was not enough room for everyone to sit down. Ino and Sakura were trading barbs, with Ino using her new weakness of needing glasses to read as a failure on Sakura's part. "Say, Sasuke, what's your place like?" Naruto had been thinking about his family and he realized he did not know anything about the Uchiha section of town. Sasuke frowned ever so slightly. "It's not very well kept up right now. In fact, the city council actually has to assign D-class missions so it doesn't look like a dump." Sakura and Ino both winced at that. "I could probably help with that, you know. I could make a ton of clones." Naruto exclaimed excitedly. "No. Why not?" was Naruto's quick question. He almost looked hurt and ready to sulk. Sasuke paused as he was not sure why he had said that. "I'll think about it then." "We can make it a team-building experience," Sakura said quickly, cutting off Ino before she could offer to help. "Right, Naruto." "Right." Naruto replied cluelessly, not realizing he'd just been used. "Fine. We have tomorrow off so we'll meet him." Sasuke was trying to think what their nearest meeting spot to the Uchiha compound was. "I guess we can meet here. It's closest." "Hurrah!" roared inner Sakura. Sasuke and Sakura were staring wide-eyed at the rush of clones that Naruto was sending everywhere to start fixing up the large Uchiha compound. The aforementioned boy looked at them funnily. "What? Did you really just create hundreds of cage no bunshin?" Sakura asked in shock. The amount of chakra needed for that was frankly terrifying to her. She quickly tried to dispel a genjutsu, only for it to fail. "Say, Naruto, could you create one more clone for me?" Sasuke tried to ask as casually as he could while trying to force his sharingan active. "Sure." He smirked as he let Sasuke get his sharingan, the created one more clone. The last Uchiha smirked as he made the symbol and tried to create as many clones as he could. 10 clones appeared before him. Then everything started to swim before his eyes and he suddenly collapsed. "Sasuke!" His teammate screamed. It was an hour later that the scion of the Uchiha clan awoke to find himself at the hospital. "Well, young man, that was a close brush with death you had there," a medicine ninja said as he calmly checked the very weak boy. You should really learn your limits a little more closely. I only created 10 and nearly died. Sasuke was trying to wrap his brain around the concept that Naruto, Mr. Dead Last himself, was magnitudes better than him at something. I don't know many Chunin that can make that many. And most of those are ready to become Jonin, the medicine ninja said. So it would be impossible to make a couple of dozen, Sasuke asked casually. I don't even think the Sanins could make that many, the woman said with a grin. Sasuke. Sakura called out happily as she entered the room. We were so worried about you. Why did you collapse? Naruto had followed her in, but he was just leaning against the wall near the doorway. The medicine ninja walked past him, nodding at the boy. I guess I gave myself chakra exhaustion. It seems it's supposed to be impossible to make as many clones as Naruto. Sasuke's voice had trailed off as he stared at Naruto. I don't suppose you would believe I just happened to have a lot of chakra, would you? The blonde asked sheepishly. Naruto, Sakura as her temper started to slowly boil over. Wait. It's not that I can't say there's a law. Shit, Naruto grumbled as he thought. I have to talk to this stupid old man. It's all his fault. Sasuke and Sakura looked surprised. Sakura spoke first. So the third Hokage told you that there is a law about your stupid amount of chakra that you can't control. A vein was starting to throb on her forehead. Yeah. If anyone talks about it they are put to death, Naruto said as he continued to think. Say what? Naruto, that doesn't make any sense Naruto. Ow. My head's starting to hurt. And indeed, it was. Desperately he started to clutch his forehead as more and more information started to invade his system. Memories of cleaning the Uchiha grounds. Painting walls. Discovering old stocks of food that had gone bad. Opening dust-filled rooms that he remembered cleaning. For the second time in a day, one of the member of Team 7 collapsed. Sakura screamed loudly which brought a medicine ninja almost immediately. Seeing the collapsed Jinchuriki, she almost left immediately except for the fuss. This was probably just a prank or something. She flipped him over and started to test him, finding his mind and head chakra points were massively overstimulated. What happened? She finally snapped out. He just started to complain of pain and then collapsed, Sakura said worriedly. Had he used any jinjutsu today? Or rather, anything unusual at all? The medic asked. I don't think Naruto can use a jinjutsu. Really, all I've seen him do is make use the Kage no Bunshin, Sakura said as she thought over the day. I'm sorry, did you say this genin used an A-rank ninjutsu? Those are forbidden for a good reason. Hold on here. The medic put Naruto into the bed and quickly trotted to several other professionals that started discussing matter. She finally came back several minutes later. Well, we have an answer for what happened to him. It looks like he overloaded his brain with all the experiences of his clones. I've never heard of it knocking someone out before, but I suppose enough pain or being weakened beforehand could do it. Tell him to be careful, as he could collapse at a bad time during a fight. The experiences of his clones. Their memories. Sasuke breathed, suddenly much more interested in the technique than before. He could finally train more than his brother did. To think that idiot knew such a powerful technique. And then nearly killed himself with it. Sakura could only shake her head in amazement. When Sasuke headed home, he was surprised to find that the entire place was as good as new. Even the cracked symbol of the Uchiha on the main wall was painted. Not another D-rank mission. Give us something cool, Naruto complained loudly to the Hokage in the mission briefing office. Sasuke and Sakura shared a look and nodded in agreement. The only one I have right now is an escort mission to the Land of Waves, the Hokage said. I'm sick and tired of retrieving that cat. So that works, the young blonde said in loud relief. The old man waved to one of the Chunin in the large office, letting in an older, middle-aged man. You found me a team that accepted my mission. Well, the kids looked young, they didn't look totally stupid. That's right, Tazuna. Team 7 will be escorting you to the Land of Waves and protect you from bandits while you complete your bridge. The Hokage took a puff on his pipe as he seemed to communicate silently with Kakashi. So it's settled. We leave at 7 o'clock in the morning. Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves. The next morning, the three genin were there bright and early, backpacks at the ready. While Naruto was quite excited, it was their second D-rank mission. You really are just a bunch of kids, aren't you? How reliable is your team leader? Tazuna asked, then took a swig of his sake bottle. He grimaced at the vile cold liquid. Well, he's always late, Naruto explained. He's a pervert, Sakura added helpfully. But he's very strong, Sasuke had to admit. Even I can't touch him if he doesn't want to be hit. That was when Kakashi appeared. It's nice to hear such high compliments from my team. His one eye seemed to be almost smiling at them. Fine. Whatever. Just make sure to protect me. The Land of Waves has been allies of the Land of Fire in the past, the old man said. It was an amazing day, warm with just a bit of wind to keep things cool. Their path was fairly slow and relaxed as Tazuna was walking on the dirt road to the east where the land of waves was. Mid-afternoon and the kids were starting to flag just a little bit. This was faster than following the wagons like last time. Only Kakashi noticed the puddle, but his team reacted to his subtle preparations for combat. They did not understand why they felt like combat was about to happen, but they unconsciously readied a kunai each. That was when two ninjas suddenly attacked out of the puddle. In just a moment, the two missing ninja of the hidden mists appeared to have Kakashi wrapped in their connecting chain that ripped him apart with the serrated chain. "One down," the left of the almost identical ninjas said. Then they charged towards Naruto. He was just starting to react when Sasuke stapled their chain to a tree with a kunai, arresting their motion. Without any pause, their matching gauntlets released the chain. "I've got the left one," Naruto called out as he charged, blocking said ninja and keeping himself from being cut with his kunai. Sakura moved to make sure she was between their client and the right one. Just before he got to her, Sasuke got in front of her to block the attack. That was when Kakashi reappeared, snagging the right ninja by his neck and gripping pressure points. Another flash of movement and he had the left ninja folded over and unconscious from a single punch. "Well, that's that. You guys did pretty good too. You better check that scratch on your knuckle. I think they were using poison." "Fa. Bleed it out, dummy." Sasuke went to pick up his kunai. Naruto frowned but did as instructed. "I would have done that on my own." "You know, I could have handled that guy on my own, Kakashi." Sakura called out as her team leader moved to talk to Tazuna. "Why aren't you yelling at Sasuke too?" "Never mind. So, Mr. Super Bridge Builder, why did you misrepresent this escort mission? Missing ninja are way above a C-rank mission. We are well within our rights to cancel this mission," the Jonin said with a hard tone to Tazuna. "Well, you see our country is too poor to afford a B-rank mission. But that's alright. I'm sure my young grandson won't be too saddened when I'm killed. I mean, this bridge is only the hope of our country." Tazuna started laughing inanely. Kakashi looked at the bridge builder like he was insane. "We can do it anyways, right Kakashi?" Naruto shouted out. He was busy pushing the venom out from the scratch that he had cut open wider. "After all, we aren't the sort to abandon our allies. What do you two think of that? This will be a very dangerous mission. Probably an A-rank mission," their Jonin leader said to the other two. "Sounds like a challenge," Sasuke said with a cold smirk. "This is the only way to become better ninja, right?" Sakura said in a more firm tone than she felt. "I guess I've been overruled. Lucky for you, Tazuna. We'll continue the mission." Tazuna was inwardly thrilled. His cunning plan had totally worked. Thank goodness that Konoha ninja were renowned for their morals and willingness to help the little people. Their trip on a chartered smuggling boat through the fog and to the island had been very quiet. The genin had been awed at the size of the bridge and amazed as the hidden tunnel that led into the actual canals and channels. After that, it was merely a matter of walking a short mile or two to Tazuna's house. Strangely, as the day progressed, the fog became thicker. All of the genin were very alert, hearing things moving in the bushes of the light forest. The path took them near a lake, which immediately raised Naruto's hackles as he thought of how many ninja could be hiding in the depths there. "Down!" shouted Kakashi. He tackled Tazuna and Naruto, while Sasuke and Sakura both went down in a tangle, making sure the other had ducked. A massive sword whizzed through the area to chop into the side of a tree. A half moment afterwards, a tall and lanky ninja that looked very powerful was standing on handle. "So, you do have some skills. Zabuza, demon of the mists and missing ninja of the hidden mists. Team, stay back with Tazuna. This one is far beyond you," Kakashi said, internally swearing as he realized the caliber of their foe. He had expected more Chunin. "Ah, Kakashi the copycat ninja, renowned for knowing over 1,000 jutsu." Zabuza wore the same lower face mask that the Leaf Jonin had. He had a bare chest that showed of impressive muscles and black and white tiger-striped bracers. His scored off-center head protector showed him to be a missing ninja quite blatantly. Kakashi didn't reply, but pulled up his protector to reveal his sharingan eye. Zabuza chuckled and then in a flash, ripped his sword out of the tree it was trapped in and threw himself out and onto the lake. Walking in a quick straddle, feet never leaving the surface very long, he started to go through his hand seals very quickly. Very quickly a mist started to rise up. The three genin had their back to Tazuna as they tried to stare through the mist. Sasuke was upset with himself, he had forgotten to activate his sharingan and learn that jutsu that Zabuza had started to use. Naruto managed to also get his sharingan active, getting as many tamo as Sasuke, 2 in each eye. Through the dense fog, Zabuza was explaining the 8 places he could strike from the mist to kill his opponents. Kakashi reassured his genin, countering the killing intent slightly. The 2 sharingan users reacted instantly when Zabuza appeared in a blur, his huge sword ready to cleave bodies in half. Now the old man dies. The missing ninja was surprised when the two genins moved so fast to block, but he never even saw Kakashi move, dragging him away from his target. The two pivoted slightly with a flurry of quick attacks, but it was Kakashi's kunai that ended up piercing Zabuza's stomach, spurting water. That was when the real Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi, cutting the leaf jonin in half that also exploded into water as another Kakashi appeared behind Zabuza, holding his kunai to neck. "The game ends now," Kakashi stated in a deadly whisper. From behind him, another Zabuza replied as he ignored the death of his second water clone at Kakashi's hand, "You are right, this does end now. Your monkey tricks are no good, Sharingan Kakashi." The mist was fading away so that everyone could see what was going on. Kakashi was again swearing a storm in his head, even as his student were in awe of the layers upon layers of the fight. The leaf jonin bent over in an incredible show of dexterity, barely avoiding really getting chopped in half. Zabuza's massive sword slammed into the ground, suddenly turning into a pivot point for him to swing on a point using his hand, both feet kicking solidly into the leaf jonin and sending his foe flying into the water. Zabuza was stopped from instantly following up by caltrops that had been laid out by Kakashi as he had been kicked, but that merely meant he had to leap high over it to land into the small lake. Kakashi was just barely starting to realize that something was off about the water, which felt heavy. The mist ninja's hand slapped into the water, finishing a jutsu that trapped Kakashi. "Team. Flee. Get Tazuna out of here now. This opponent is not someone you can fight," the leaf jonin called out. "It's already too late," Zabuza said as he started forming hand seal with one hand, creating yet another water clone. The clone hefted the massive sword, moving towards the trio of genin. "We can't flee," Naruto said in a tight voice. "He will just hunt us down later." He started to move up on the clone. Sasuke was still fighting the effects of the killer intent, but he saw what Naruto was saying. "So we're dead." "No, we free our team leader. Then we kick his ass," the blonde was saying, just before his leaf forehead protector was taken and kicked backwards hard by the clone. "Your team is not exactly what it appears, is it? Sharingan Kakashi." The real Zabuza was studying to two boys that both had immature Sharingans active. Azuna laughed nervously. "Shouldn't we flee like your team leader asked?" Naruto clambered to his feet with the help of Sakura. "No, we don't abandon our teammates. People that do that are less than trash." Kakashi could not believe what he was hearing. "Page no Bunshin," Naruto shouted, creating dozens of clones that charged the water clone holding his head protector. They swarmed over the water clone of Zabuza, but were knocked back by the powerful missing ninja, destroying most of them. Naruto landed back next to his two genin teammates. "What are you laughing about, kid? You don't think that showed you were a real ninja, do you?" Pathetic. The clone's eyes widened as he realized that entire attack had been to recover his headband protector, which Naruto was tying back on his head. "You are more interesting than I thought, Ichiha." Sasuke looked slightly confused as he had not noticed Naruto's Sharingan yet. "We still can't." "Shut up, Sasuke." Naruto turned to him, his Sharingan very visible. "We're going to defeat him and rescue Kakashi. Or are you too weak?" The last Uchiha snarled back at that. "I'm not weak." His own Sharingan was spinning angrily at the shock of seeing those eyes. "Naruto?" Sakura asked in amazement. "Is that a Konoha thing?" Tazuna asked to everyone that just ignored him. The two boys pulled out kunai for each hand, then charged the clone. Zabuza's clone was having to block and duck far more than he would have ever believed possible from mere genin. To Sasuke and Naruto, it was like they could see where the clone was going to attack. One thing they both noticed is that the clone seemed somewhat weaker or slower than the real Zabuza. The clone was fighting hard as the extremely heavy sword was just slightly too slow and heavy for it to hit the oddly contrasting duo of Sharingan users. At the shore of the lake, the clone maneuvered near the real Zabuza that was holding Kakashi in the bubble of heavy water. Three things happened almost at the same instant. The water clone slammed a kick to spun Sasuke into the mud. Naruto slammed a kunai into the clone, disrupting its watery matrix as the clone handed the sword back to the real Zabuza, who spun it much faster and into Naruto's side with a sickening crunch despite his desperate attempt to block it with his kunai. Naruto kept fighting the blow when Sasuke entered the fight, slamming his feet into the handle of the massive sword while cutting at the missing ninja's face. All of those actions finally had what Naruto and Sasuke had hoped for though. They had freed Kakashi from the watery prison as the mist ninja failed to release his sword. "You brats. You aren't ninja. And now you die." Zabuza yelled in anger. The massive sword spun around to cleave both of the audacious genin when it was stopped on Kakashi's armored glove, who had suddenly moved inside the swing. "Your battle is with me," Kakashi said in a deadly serious tone. In a flash, he followed Zabuza back out onto the water to resume their duel. Sasuke wanted to follow, but had no idea how to do the trick of water walking they were using. Looking down at Naruto, he whispered, "You idiot." Naruto had collapsed to his knees as blood poured from his side as he used his arm to hold in the blood. Spitting blood, he grinned. We rescued him. With that, he collapsed to his face. Naruto. Sakura screamed as she ran up, Tazuna following quickly. She turned him over, blanching at the amount of blood leaking out of his lips. Dual water dragons appeared to smash into each other as the Jonin took the duel to a new level with ninjutsu techniques. The whole lake was awash with massive waves. I don't know what to do, Sakura called out in a pleading voice. I'm sorry Sakura. Didn't mean to get hurt or worry you, Naruto said just before waves smashed over all of them. Sasuke tore his eyes away from the dying form of his teammate. The battle on lake was coming to a head as Zabuza was losing his composure. The missing ninja was slammed against a tree as somehow Kakashi had outdone him at his own water ninjutsu. Do you really see the future? Zabuza finally said as he was overtaken. Yes. I see your death, Kakashi said as he held his kunai to his foe's throat, only to dodge as a needle suddenly pierced all the way through Zabuza's neck. He turned to the masked figure in loose robes on a tree branch. A hunter. The missing ninja collapsed to his face in a gurgle. Yes, I have to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to kill the demon of the mists, the muffled voice said under his mask. Kakashi. Naruto, it's bad. Sakura yelled out frantically. Pulling his sharingan down and keeping an eye on the hunter, he moved over to see the two genin kneeling next to the downed member who was half laying in a puddle. Really sorry Sakura. Kakashi, it's cold. Naruto's voice was weak and fading. Naruto, I failed you, the jonin said. No, saved you. Sakura. Naruto wheezed out. Take my eye like a beetle. My gift. No, no. You can't be dying, Sakura said while shaking her head. You have to decide now. I can transplant it, but it has to be now, Kakashi ordered her. Please, I really like you Sakura, for you and Sasuke. He managed to get out before he collapsed, barely still awake with a rasping breathing, the only thing showing him to be still alive. Tears were streaming down Sakura's face. Do it, she finally said. I'm not a medicine ninja, so this will probably hurt, the jonin said. Very quickly he used the sharingan memorized abilities he had learned to remove Sakura's left eye and implant Naruto's left on its place. He was surprised that Sakura did not let out a cry of pain at all. Cover it up so it does not drain you of chakra. With that, he collapsed on his face, totally drained of chakra himself. He's just knocked out, Sakura said, checking him. He had a bunch of light wounds. Sasuke. Yeah, I'll carry him. We were just about to your place, right Tazuna? Sasuke said as he tried to lift the jonin. The bridge builder nodded as he moved over to help him pick up Kakashi. We aren't that far. I'll help you. The sudden shock of the loudmouth kid had undermined his will. Did he really have the right to throw them into this life and death struggle? Sasuke, I'm going to stay here with Naruto until the end, she said to her teammate with tears streaming down her cheeks. HNN. Where is she? Sasuke asked for the 5th time in an hour. Why don't you go find out instead of asking? Tazuna's daughter asked. She was making a meal for everyone. And leave our client unprotected, he replied darkly. Tazuna was just staring out the porch, thinking hard. There was a knocking on the door. Sasuke, help me with Naruto. It was Sakura and she sounded frantic. What took you so long? Sasuke asked as he opened the door, seeing the kunoichi with a bandaged up Naruto. Isn't he dead? No, he's huff-puff too stupid to die, I guess. Need to get him out of the cold. Only Naruto would be that dumb, the last Uchiha muttered, hiding his amazement and relief. They dragged the unconscious boy to a bed next to Kakashi. Checking the chest wound, they were amazed to see it was starting to heal and was no longer bleeding at all. That shouldn't be possible, should it, Sasuke? Sakura asked. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, he admitted. The next morning, the sound of cooking food for breakfast woke up Naruto. He yawned and tried to stretch before an achy pain in his chest and eye reminded him that he should be dead. Dummy. Can't even die right, Sasuke said as he opened an eye to glare at his blonde teammate. He had been resting against the wall. I guess that's right. What happened? The bandage boy asked with a stupid sheepish grin. So, how did I survive? What's wrong with Kakashi? We were hoping you could explain, Sakura asked. I can't say. It's an S-rank secret, the wound genin said. S-rank? You? The village idiot. The dark-haired boy asked in bewilderment. Actually, Naruto, you aren't restricted by that law. The Hokage yourself are the only ones that can explain this secret, Kakashi said from his own futon, his one visible eye still closed. But they still can't talk about it later or they will be put to death. Put to death? Sakura screamed, causing Tazuna and Tsunemia to rush into the room. Oh, you guys all survived? The old bridge builder asked. His mood visibly brightened up. Breakfast is almost ready, the young mother said, shaking her head at the excitable kids. We would request a bit of privacy, sir. We should be out in a few minutes. Kakashi waited for him to leave, sliding the door closed. Like I said, only Naruto can tell you this secret and why he heals so fast. Naruto started to sweat as he saw the two teammates glaring at him. Well, it all goes back to the Kitsune Nine Tails. So? The fourth Hokage killed him before I was born, Sakura replied in confusion. The thing is, he didn't kill him. He sealed him into a baby that the entire village hates. Sasuke was quicker on the uptake. You were that baby. Damn. Sakura was just blinking and thinking furiously fast. And that's why you heal so fast. That's scary and amazing. Yeah, but I'm hungry right now. Can we eat? That got a chuckle out of the rest of them. The second morning, Kakashi joined everyone for breakfast. Well, I have some bad news, the Jonin said as he moved carefully. He was still very tired. Everyone was looking at him, especially the youngest child, Inari. Well, just spit it out. Sakura grumbled. I don't think Zabuza is dead. The hunter did not destroy the body right there and was using a weapon that is unlikely to kill you unless you hit just right, he said as he stirred his bowl of rice in a nervous fidget. I think we were hoodwinked. Naruto, how long until you think you can fight? Right now. Only a little stiff and sore, the blonde admitted. Kakashi stared at him for a long time, then finally nodded. Very well, then it is time for training. I want you to go outside and do tree walking until you are tired. Especially you, Sakura. The sharingan is very chakra intensive and will probably knock you out in just minutes. Yes sir, she replied with alacrity. The three genin walked out and found 3 trees to start walking. Both Sasuke and Naruto were fairly unaffected, but the girl had a problem for a while. Her control had been affected a bit. At noon, Kakashi came out to see them all still climbing. They had added walking on the bottom of the tallest branch. Alright, that's good. Now I'm going to teach you something new. It should increase your control even more, so you waste less chakra. All 3 genin quickly scrambled over to where he was standing next to a small stream. As casually as if he were walking softly on leaves, the Jonin walked across the surface of the water again. This is a continuation of the tree exercise, as you have to get the right amount of chakra in your feet to not fall in. He started to walk back to Tezuna's house. Oh, and do try to dry off before coming in the house. He really didn't explain how to do this, Sakura complained. Probably testing us, Naruto replied. Sasuke created 2 clones. All 3 of him started to play at figuring out how to walk on water. That's not fair. I can't create shadow clones. Sakura looked quite frustrated at that thought. Sure you can. You just have to watch me create a clone with your sharingan, Sakura. Naruto had a big grin, totally at odds with his bandaged face and covered eye. Just cover it up immediately after so you don't get drained like Kakashi did. She waited for him to get ready, then lifted her eye patch. She felt the huge drain on the active sharingan, but her eye immediately memorized Naruto's motion. She could tell that she now knew the powerful jutsu. Wow. She had it covered up immediately afterwards. Carefully, she created just a single clone and felt incredibly weak. But there she was. Now we can both have a Sakura. Naruto said with a laugh. Maybe I can at least get your clone to go out on a date, Sakura. Idiot. She said in an almost fond tone, missing the slightly turned up lips of all of the Sasukes as they trained. She and her clone started to practice. Here I go. Naruto shouted, creating hundreds of clones to start his own version of learning to water walk. The sun was just going down as Sasuke and Sakura dragged back the comatose form of Naruto. What happened? Tsunami asked worriedly. Did his wound reopen? No, the dummy just overdid his training, Sakura almost shouted. I would have expected that you would collapse first, Sakura, Kakashi noted as he looked up from his novella. I stopped a couple of hours in. I had it pretty good, but my new eye and making a clone wore me out fast, she admitted. Naruto knocked himself out from using too many clones for too long. Even just 3 clones gave me a bad headache, Sasuke said in a bland tone. You used the sharingan. Kakashi had not thought she would even try that. Yeah, Naruto showed me how to make clones like he and Sasuke can. It's really amazing. My control is back up to where it's supposed to be already. So it must be almost fully healed then. That's good. You'll need to rig an eye patch that you can use like I do, so you can reveal that eye. They all started to eat, leaving Naruto unconscious. But the smell of food woke him quickly. Food. He said happily as he staggered out of the guest room. Welcome back to the land of the living, Naruto, Tazuna said with a cheery grin as he took a sip of his sake. The old man was almost back to his normal mood. Inari just glared at him, but just sat sullenly and ate. After supper, Team 7 retired to the main guest room. Well, I guess it is time to check our wounded. We probably have a few more days, but we want to be at our best, Kakashi said. He pointed at Sakura and then patted the ground next to where he was sitting. He noted that she wavered tiredly when he checked the eye quickly. It looks like it is staying active, just like my own. So I'm always going to have to cover it up? Sakura asked in a soft tone. Nah, you just have to put a little chakra into your eyes to stop the spinning, then pull it all back, Naruto called out, which got a glare from Sasuke. Unconsciously, Naruto tried to activate his sharingan, causing a stabbing pain in his missing eye. That confirmed to Sasuke that Naruto had his eyes active before that fight. He clenched his fists, fighting the urge to hit Naruto for having beat him to that. He's right. That was probably the reason for those stupid goggles. Sakura blinked her visible eye, then concentrated. Under her bandages, the two Tomo spun one direction, then slowed and stopped. Then she felt the drain on her system stop. She lifted up the eye patch, revealing a very dark blue eye. That did it. Kakashi just sat there for a moment. It had been that easy. He tried to mimic her, but could tell that it did not work. I can't do that. Probably because I've had my eye active too long. Sakura frowned as she tried to activate it, but just swooned on her knees as her hand went to her eye. Whoa. Don't think I'm doing that for a little while. You'll need to practice. Naruto, I need to check your eye and your chest. Don't think I didn't see that pain when you activated your sharingan, the Jonin said. Fine. Naruto grumbled a bit as the bandage was removed. Kakashi just stared. Naruto. He covered the boy's good eye. Can you see anything? It's blurry. But this is my missing eye. Naruto started blinking that eye rapidly, moisturizing it as his vision improved. I can see. That goes way beyond dumb luck, Sasuke said in mute shock. Why is it blue? Naruto pulled out a kunai to stare at his distorted reflection. He started to really focus and concentrate as his one bright blue eye flickered darker with a stab of agony. I will not lose it, he suddenly snarled. He forced more chakra as his right eye's sharingan activated. He was fighting a blinding headache before he suddenly got his eye to darken and create a Tomo again. Man, it's like the eye forgot how to work. So, Naruto. When were you going to tell us you had the sharingan? Sakura asked in an accusing tone, even as she stifled a yawn. When it would least make you upset. He replied back glibly. I mean, it's cool I have it, but he's the heir of the clan. I'm just some kid that got lucky. HNN. Sasuke stood up. He had the sudden desire to go for a walk. Or burn Naruto into ash. His grandfather was a missing ninja. When Naruto was 9, one of the citizens of the village probably tried to kill him, not knowing that he would heal. The sharingan most often activates in life and death situations. Usually while in agony. Kakashi stood up, curious to note that he had all of their attention. So he had a harder life than you did. Sasuke was trying futilely to not desire to punch the wall. Or Naruto. So? Now you might understand him better. Though I still don't get why you are such an active loudmouth, kid. Kakashi patted Naruto on his head. Naruto smiled at that, then realized what he said. Hey. He blinked as he heard an odd noise. It sounded like dainty snoring to his left. He looked over to see the very odd sight of Sakura sleeping while sitting up. Though it looked like her head was falling forward. Sakura. Why don't you put her to bed? Kakashi stood up to get a drink, thinking hard. What would the Hokage think of this wrinkle? Probably nothing good. It was nearly a week since they had come to this land of isles and mist. The genin could now walk on water with almost as much ease as Kakashi himself could. He had them sparring and increasing their speed and strength. All of them were advancing quickly in skill. In spite of himself, he was being impressed. He had heard that Naruto was a dead last in school, but he was a bit suspicious of that. The kid was bright and inventive, learning quickly. In fact, with his shadow clones, he was learning faster than anyone he had met. Sasuke seemed to be incredibly driven and luckily was more talented than Naruto when it came to taijutsu and ninjutsu. Sakura was the weakest of the team, but probably also one of the smartest. Her chakra reserve had almost doubled this week. But that, sadly, just meant that her sharingan drained her in 5 minutes, not 3. She had far less than half of Sasuke. Much less Naruto. The Jonin just shook his head in bemusement. He would be far less happy if he knew how often Naruto was using his clones. Out in the woods, the last of a group of Naruto clones was sitting on the ground. He sat up as he saw a figure wearing a kimono gathering plants. Hello. Good morning. Were you out all night? The long-haired and effeminate boy said with a soft smile. Nah. Just got up really early to practice actually. And he was technically still practicing with the rest of his team, he believed. In actuality, the entire group was going to head to the bridge. The two seemed to hit a resonating chord of sadness and caring. If only they could have cared about the same people. As soon as Haku left to take his medicinal herbs back to the nearly recovered Zabuza, the clone stood up to walk slowly through the forest for hours. It was later than he expected. First Izuna, then Inari and now Haku. Naruto was figuring out who was important to him. He was getting close when he heard yelling. I'll bite my tongue and kill myself. Please, take me, but leave my son. Tsunami yelled out in her doorway, in the dire grip of two of Gato's thugs. Gato's Ronin sneered, but nodded. Fine. You're lucky, kid. Why don't you run along before our goodwill departs? We only need one hostage for Gato. The clone was thinking rapidly. He was only going to have one chance at this. He pulled out two kunai, then leaped to the attack. He stabbed both weapons into the chest of the larger Ronin who was holding the mother. Tsunami felt the bandit loosen its grip as something wet splashed on her. She turned around just in time to see him collapse. You brat. You killed Yoroki. The surviving bandit said. He pulled out his trusty katana. I'm going to kill you, you damn brat. Tsunami, grab Inari and run, Naruto yelled out as he held up his bloody kunai. He had to dodge any attacks. The bandit's attack barely missed Naruto's ear, even as he retaliated with a kick to his knee. In the background, Tsunami ran around the corner of the house, calling for her son. Inari. Naruto left a kunai in the bandit's thigh, but he fell prey to a feint and got a cut on his ear that dispelled the clone. What sort of crazy thing was that? The bandit said. He grimaced as he saw the woman and her son dashing towards the village. The ninja's weapon had disappeared when he had, but that still left him hobbling after them. Gato was going to be so very angry. Just before the bridge, the memories of his clone slammed into him. Kakashi. Some thugs tried to kidnap Tsunami and Inari for Gato. Are they alright? He asked even as Tazuna started to panic. Yeah, my clone killed one of them and wounded the other's leg, so he shouldn't be able to catch up to them, Naruto said happily. So we should be ready. Naruto, make a few clones and send them down on the water to come up behind them, the Jonin said. He waited for them to disappear over the edge. Everyone else, weapons out. Tazuna, stay in the back with them. So the sight of several of the workers that had been attacked was startling, but not as totally shocking as it could be. Sasuke and Naruto both activated their sharingans at the sight of the blood though. So not only did you attack here, killing these men, but you are also kidnapping Tazuna's family, Kakashi said in a cold tone. He was very, very angry. Zabuza looked a little confused. What are you talking about? I don't need to kidnap anyone. I'll just kill you, then the old man and earn my money. Sir, Mr. Gato did not tell us of his own plans. But the only reason I can see for him to have tried to kidnap the woman and her son is that he feels we have already failed, the hunter in flowing robes next to the missing ninja said, his voice muffled and mysterious. Or he's going to make sure we failed. Probably shouldn't have let you break his bodyguard's wrist, kid. Zabuza was suddenly thinking very hard. Naruto, send some of your clones to recon, Kakashi suddenly ordered. Zabuza, how about we have a small ceasefire for half an hour? Naruto created 6 clones and sent them off into the mists. 10 minutes later, he suddenly looked up. There's about 50 guys off to the south. My clone heard them say they were planning on killing all of us after we fight each other. You're lying, kid, Zabuza said with incredible killing intensity, causing Naruto to actually wilt a second. You managed to trick me with your fake death. Hey. That really hurt. I almost died, jackass. He shouted right back. The deadly mist ninja blinked at that. Well, I was still paid to kill the old man. I don't back out of my promises. But if Gato betrays you, you won't get paid, Kakashi noted in a slightly smug tone. Hey, old guys. We can prove Gato is going to betray you, easy, Naruto said with a smirk. All of the ninja looked at him, while Tazuna got worried at the blonde's maniacal look. This is going to be the best prank ever. The bandit standing off in the mist had been hearing explosions and the crash of water for quite a while. Metal had rung off of metal, and screams had rent the air. Finally, it had all trailed off a bit. It's time, boys. Remember, whoever gets the killing blow on Zabuza will get an extra 10,000 ryo. Gato explained. He was a little worried at his 2 major warriors that had not showed up with his hostages, but he probably would not need them anyways. The scene in front of them was horrific and macabre. An auburn-haired girl stared into the sky with blank, unmoving mismatched eyes with a kunai in her neck as 2 masked ninja dueled in blurs. Other figures lay on the ground in pools of blood as Tazuna crouched in fear with his back against a stack of stone blocks, blood seeping from wounds. Zabuza charged at Kakashi as the other ninja stumbled backwards, half falling behind a crate. With a might sweep of his huge sword, a spurt of blood covered that area. The dread demon of the mist looked little better. What are you doing here, Gato? I just finished killing these Konoha scum. He looked over at Tazuna who was holding a blood-covered hand to his chest. Tazuna should be bleeding out in just a moment. You've got my money, right? Gato had a smirk on his face as he looked at the winded ninja. Right. I have your payment right here. With a snap of his fingers, he sent his miniature army against Zabuza. See you in hell, demon of the mist. He settled himself to wait, both chubby hands on his cane. Well, what do you know? The brat was 100% right. "Hey kid, I accept your deal for that meal to work with you here today," Zabuza said in perfect confidence. The ghastly, cut-up form of Naruto looked up. "Really? Way cool." He bounced to his feet as his illusion dropped. That stopped the forward advance of the bandits. What?" The lead tough said as he suddenly pivoted in case he had to fight the kid too. His grip on his sword was suddenly very sweaty. Suddenly, all of the bodies were getting up as their wounds disappeared. Kakashi's eye was crinkled up in humor as he stepped around the crate, totally unharmed. "It's always bad business to double-cross your partner. It's really stupid to do it to a powerful ninja," he espoused wisely. "You lied to me," Gato shouted in sudden fear. "You were going to kill me. I say that means we are now enemies. Gato, prepare to die," the demon of the mist said. In a blur, he appeared behind the criminal. With a sweep of the huge blade, the sunglass-wearing head went flying. "Hey, you guys. I suggest you drop your weapons and leave the land of waves," Naruto called out while pointing at them. "Otherwise, we'll have to kill you all. There's 50 of us. And only 6 of you," the lead tough said while sweating. "Page no bunshin," Naruto shouted as he made his hand seal. "And now there's 200 of us. And 50 of you." There was a sea of blonde hair behind the kid. Haku and Zabuza both were looking at the kid like he was crazy. Those were not solid, were they? That would be at least special Jonin level, not something a genin could even imagine. The first bandit dropped his sword and dove into the inland sea, starting a mass panic. Chapter 2. To be examined. Team 7 was there as the last bit of the huge bridge was being finished. Kakashi actually put away his little orange book and walked over to Tazuna. The old engineer perked up. "Well, it looks like I managed to build it after all these years. So you guys are headed out this morning?" the old man asked. Kakashi nodded, looking down at the water's edge, where his students were busy doing a three-way spar on the surface of the water like it was old hat. In a flicker of motion, he suddenly had a kunai out and was standing behind Tazuna and a swirl of water droplets. "You pass muster, I guess. You aren't as good as I thought your reputation said, but you are still good enough." Zabuza had a smirk under his mask. Next to him stood Haku looking rather ordinary in a standard kimono. "I want to hire your team, as you are headed to Konoha." The Leaf Jonin uncoiled. "Make the offer. I want you to deliver Haku to Konoha. He has a scroll to deliver to a certain someone that he will reveal then. I have just enough for a C-rank mission. I know it doesn't really cut it, but you are headed back that way." Zabuza turned his prodigy. "Haku, make sure you deliver the message to him in Konoha no matter what." With a negligent-seeming toss, he threw a bag of coins to Kakashi. Then he disappeared in another swirl of water droplets. "I shall strive to not be a bother, Mr. Haddock," Haku said softly. "We were just about to leave anyways. Tazuna, let Inari and Tsunami know we have left." "It's probably best this way," Kakashi said as he turned to the end of the bridge, only to see his 3 students fade out of the brush at the beginning of the road. "You heard?" "Yeah, we heard," Naruto called out loudly. "Guess we get to hang out some more." "Huh, Haku." Haku smiled softly. "Indeed. You're strong, right?" Sasuke said in deep concentration. "You can fight him at Konoha, not before. Right now, he's part of our new mission," Kakashi said. Sasuke frowned, even as the other 2 genin chuckled at his discomposure. Haku did not seem to get it at first, then smiled. Sakura looked at their Sasuke, then shook her head. Her dark blue eye and darkening green eye studied the air of the Uchiha. "I think he's figured out your code phrase for you look interesting to fight Sasuke." HNN. He could not really deny it. "Let's move out," Kakashi ordered. Days later, they were approaching the main north gate of the city. The Chunin guards watched them in interest. "Picked up a stray, Haddock," one of them called out. "Just an improvised escort," he replied. "Thank you for escorting, sir. If you could direct me to the son of the White Fang or someone that could help me find him, it would be appreciated," Haku said with a short bow. Only the 3 genin caught Kakashi's light pause, causing them to tense up in reaction. "There's no need. I'm right here," the Jonin finally said. "Pardon? What do you mean?" the young traveler asked in sudden worry. "The White Fang of Konoha was my father," Kakashi replied distastefully. "No." Haku's face had suddenly gone very, very pale. "I have to get back." Kakashi stopped Haku from departing by a tight grip on the shoulder. 5 minutes for me to read the scroll will not change what has already happened." He held out his other hand, which accepted the scroll mutely. Haku seemed to almost wilt while waiting for the scroll to be read. "It is not good, is it?" Zabuza says that he found out that the hidden village of the Mists sent out the 7 swordsmen to hunt him down. It was Gatu's revenge from beyond the grave. He requests that you take refuge in Konoha. And that you live a full life, the Jonin said while everyone at the gate listened raptly. "Which of the 7 swordsmen?" Haku asked desperately. "I'm sorry, let me clarify. All of the 7 swordsmen were being sent after him. If he survives, he said that he will send a messenger. The young teen's knees suddenly felt weak. All of the 7 swordsmen. Haku couldn't remember kneeling down. Sasuke and Sakura nodded sadly, even as Haku started to wail, tears running down the overly young and effeminate face. Naruto just looked confused. I don't get it. Idiot. They are the elite of the Mist Ninja, like the 12 Guardians, Sakura snapped out. All Jonin that are personally loyal to the Mizukage. Zabuza is probably dead by now. Oh. Naruto had no idea how to deal with someone lost in grief like this. We shouldn't leave Haku like this. Good. Then you just volunteered to take care of Haku. I'll report into the Hokage and talk to you later, Kakashi said, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Ah, damn it. Naruto shouted out. See you tomorrow, idiot. No way was Sasuke going to be saddled a crying wreck like that. I have to get home. My parents are probably worried. See you, Naruto, Sakura shouted as she ran off. With a sigh, Naruto carefully picked up the lighter teen. Well, I guess it's time to head back to my apartment. Haku woke up the next morning to the sound of snoring off to the left of the lumpy mattress. Naruto. Whoa, hey Haku. Naruto sat up with a creak of pained muscles. Oh, ouch. He pulled off his sleeping cap. You did not have to sleep on the floor, Haku said softly. A frown adorned the teen's face while looking around at the cramped apartment. This is your place. Yeah, not much to it, but it's also cheap. Naruto stretched, then pulled off his nightshirt and wandered over to the very small restroom. A few minutes later and he was starting to shower. Naruto. You do realize your bathroom door is partially open? Yeah, it's busted. Sorry. The building manager hates me. The boy looked incredibly groggy, which seemed so very strange compared to his normal boisterous self, as he scrubbed his scalp with shampoo. Haku was severely blushing by the time Naruto was out. Bathroom's yours, he mumbled. Naruto started puttering in the kitchenette. Really, the only safe food was his ramen. With a sigh, he started making 2 bowls. Haku came out about 10 minutes later, looking uncomfortable. Thank you for breakfast. Don't worry about it, I thought you said you were a boy. Naruto asked as the undisguised figure sat across from him. She was now wearing her kimono, and it was obvious that she was in fact a she. I lied a little bit. Zabuza always had me hide my gender, but I like to wear my pretty clothes. So I pretend I'm a cross-dressing boy to confuse people. Well, I guess, Naruto said as he patted the girl who was losing herself to her pain again. Please don't cry. That was when someone knocked on Naruto's door. The owner of the apartment stumbled over to it, opening to let in the rest of his team. I'm not late, am I? He asked in bewilderment. Kakashi shook his head. No, but we have a meeting with the Hokage in about an hour. All of us, including Haku. Sakura and Sasuke had noted that Haku was not hiding her gender. HNN. The last Uchiha knew this had to be Naruto's fault. So you are a girl, Sakura said to herself as she nodded her head in confirmation. I thought my sharingan was seeing that in your motions. Their teacher blinked, then nodded. You can train it to spot things like that. Very good, Sakura. You figured out something with your new eye before Naruto or Sasuke. Now Sasuke was glaring at her, not just at Naruto. Haku, I would ask that you not mention anything about the sharingan to anyone that is not in this room. It is very important. Kakashi was giving the girl a serious look. Yes sir. Haku looked very small and wan today. The 5 of them headed to the Hokage's tower, the veritable fortress in the middle of Konoha. They were waved past security. Kakashi. What am I going to do with you? The old man behind his desk said with a small smile. He turned his aged eyes upon Sakura. Ms. Haruno. Show me your eye. She complied, activating it and getting 2 Tomo, then deactivating it quickly. I can't keep it active too long, sir. I'm not strong enough. Amazing. Well, that is a tricky situation you've dumped on me, Team 7. Sakura, well I would love to make this an S-rank secret, you are going to have to use that at some time. Try to not get caught before you are Chunin though. The Hokage turned to Sasuke. That might be a good time to adopt them into your clan, elder of the Uchiha. Well I cannot order that, I can still suggest such things. Both of them? Sasuke asked slowly. I don't think they would argue against it. And your clan needs rebuilding, does it not? The old man said with a hard tone. HNN. Now he was thinking about it. Haku of the Land of Water, if you swear to not attack Konoha, I will let you stay within our village. I will not lie to you, your bloodline would be welcomed into the ranks of many that the leaf calls its own, but we will not demand that of you. You would find yourself within good company, as there are over 30 bloodlines that are tracked here. Even if the Haruno one has not been seen in decades, he said with a small smile to Sakura. I swear. She had nowhere to go, after all. Haruno. My father never mentioned that, Sakura said in surprise. I'm not surprised, it is mostly a mental discipline. Haku, Konoha cannot take you in as a ninja for the time, but in 6 months you can apply. The Hokage looked them for a while. You are dismissed. I believe the mission room will open in 10 minutes. They trooped outside, Haku at the back thinking dark morose thoughts. So, Haku, you can stay at my place until, well, you don't need to, Naruto offered with a nervous smile. It's not much of a place, but it's better than the street. You're too nice, Naruto. The girl sounded quite sad. Sakura was looking at the young blonde in deep thought. He really had a lot more depth than anyone would have expected. HNN. Sasuke seemed lost in his own deep thought. Haku, I'm afraid you will have to go back to Naruto's place for a bit. We do have a mission to do today, Kakashi said authoritatively. She nodded and headed back. This morning was a weeding job for a farmer as his family was sick with food poisoning. We're going to be at it all day. This sucks, Naruto exclaimed. He started to pull everything that looked like a weed. Naruto. Those aren't weeds. Sakura shouted. Her left eye was sharp enough to spot him doing that from 30 feet away. Really? Can you show me? Sasuke was just going to ignore him but reached into the small pile of discarded plants. These are herbs, Dumbus. Oh, sorry. Still going to take all day. Sakura gave both boys a smirk while she made a hand sign. With a pop, a second Sakura appeared. It's not like we don't know any techniques to multiply ourselves or something. Sasuke was wanting to smack his forehead like Naruto was doing. Here I come. Super special version just for Sakura. The overactive ninja shouted. Remember, only the weeds, guys. Kakashi blinked as Naruto created over 600 clones. Don't overdo it, Naruto. Sasuke created 6 himself, which left him very tired. Why could the idiot make so many clones? What was his power? No problem, teacher. I can keep this up for hours. The job was finished in only an hour with all the help, even if the Sakura and Sasuke clones had to yell at the Naruto clones to not pull up herbs or edible roots. Even the owner of the farm was mostly happy as Naruto dispelled all of his clones. Say, Sakura, can I take your clone on a date? It's good endurance training for you. Naruto wheedled. Fine. Fine. Strangely, her inner self did not say anything. Which was an odd thing by itself. Let's go, Naruto. Sakura's boisterous clone called out, dragging the real Naruto off. Say, Sasuke. How about a real date? The original Sakura asked. Sasuke turned down the real Sakura without a thought, taking off with his clones for some training. No way was he going to be worse at something than Naruto. So what are we going to do? It better be something cool, the clone of Sakura asked while bopping the real Naruto on his head. What do you want to do? I've never been on a date before. Truthfully, Naruto had never thought he would convince her to go along with it. What do you like to do? Go out with Sasuke, but she managed to just barely not say that. She was not that uncultured. Well, I like to go to the library, but that's not something you go on a date. How about you buy me something on the market street? Sure, but please don't ask for anything too expensive. I think I'm feeding 2 people now, Naruto said as he made a reference to his new house guest. Yeah. That was very nice of you. Sakura exclaimed. You have a big heart. Are you feeling alright, Sakura? The boy asked as he trotted along with the girl. Never better. It feels like I've been freed. After about an hour, Sakura let the boy buy her a small flower as they finished looking in the windows. The very smart girl was frowning as she'd seen several glares and they had actually been blocked from entering 2 stores. GRR. What a bunch of jerks. They don't know you at all, she said as they walked back to Naruto's house. Thanks, Sakura. I'm glad you don't hate me for you know. Naruto gave her a pained smile. Would you like some tea? I think I still have some. Sure. The clone was quite interested to find out if she could actually drink anything. Naruto opened the door to his little apartment, finding it incredibly tidied up. Wow. You didn't have to do that, Haku. Haku looked up from where she was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the floor. It did not take a long time. And you have been very kind to me. She tried to smile. Naruto went over to the kitchenette and started opening a cupboard to look for his tea. How are you doing, Haku? Sakura said in a friendly tone. You know, I think the Yamanaka flower shop might need some part-time help now that Ino is a genin. Really? I really don't know flowers, but I do know some herbs for healing, the dark-haired Kunoichi said. You had probably not mentioned where you are staying. Ino's mom really doesn't like me, Naruto said as he tried to find 3 teacups while the water for tea was on his little stove. And that's not fair. Sakura said loudly. They should be, yeah. Not supposed to talk about that. Sorry. Naruto was actually glaring at her from the kitchen. What are you referring to? The girl from the land of water asked. It's a big secret, Haku. But all you need to know is that a lot of people here in Konoha don't like me at all. Naruto shrugged to show it was no big deal. All of a sudden, the Sakura clone popped out of existence, surprising Haku and Naruto. "Bang, guess she passed out," Naruto said in obvious frustration. He made a clone and handed it Sakura's flower. "Go take that to Sakura's house and make sure she's alright. Then pop yourself." The clone gave a thumbs up and ran out the door. "You know, Naruto, most people don't use that powerful of a technique as a messenger," Haku said as she took the cup of tea from the boy. "But you aren't exactly the most standard ninja, are you?" She smiled to remove the sting from her comment. "Would you show me this flower shop later?" "Well, we'll have to sneak over there so Ino's mom doesn't see me, but sure." "Naruto, she's not a ninja, is she?" Haku sighed when Naruto shook his head in confusion. "You're ninja. Just turn yourself into a villager and no one will know anything." Oh, I'm so stupid. I should have thought of that myself." He gave her a cheesy smile. Heck, he could do that at a lot of shops. 10 minutes later, Naruto and Haku were walking. Lacking for any better idea, he had turned into a team that he remembered seeing in the Land of Waves. So all anyone saw walking down the street was 2 girls. Haku was actually very happy after she talked to the owner of the flower shop. She said she could use someone at least part-time. "I'm to come by at noon every day and work at least an hour." They started walking home when Haku steered them into a small market and picked up some supplies. She paid for everything quite quickly and Naruto was surprised at the costs. "That's really cheap. I usually pay twice as much," he exclaimed in awe, still in his disguise. "Then it is good they did not know it was you." "This is the normal price," Haku noted dryly. Sakura was dead tired after their latest mission, though happy with her chakra control and how much stamina she was developing. She had created 2 clones this time to help with picking up garbage in the stream. "Sasuke, how about a date today?" she asked after Kakashi had departed. He had spotted a falcon in the sky. "Sorry, I refuse," he said immediately, crushing her hopes. He turned and walked off to his home. Naruto started to open his mouth to ask her on a date but stopped as he saw her droop in despair. Say, Sakura. I can walk you home." She glared at him for a long moment then decided that his offer was not too forward. "I guess." Both of the ninja blinked as they saw a large box, painted crudely to look like a rock. Naruto just groaned as he realized who it probably was. Konohamaru unveiled his Konohamaru corpse, much to his aggravation, and a bit too much gunpowder. His 2 friends had been sucked into his competition. "You're going to play ninja with us, right?" Konohamaru asked with a huge grin. Then he spotted the auburn-dyed girl next to Naruto. "Say, bro, is this your, He twirled his finger to show that they were together. "Well, not really. Well, yet." Naruto was suddenly thumped to the ground. "We are not together." She shouted at him while grinding her heel into his back. "But we did that one date," the boy whined under her foot. Sakura was blushing incredibly at that. It was just a clone. For training. Naruto sitting under a tree with a girl. Konohamaru corpse. "Retreat." Their leader shouted, sending the trio of younger kids running down the street. "Come back here." Sakura shouted, in full anger mode as she chased them. Konohamaru slammed into a strangely garbed teen as he rounded a corner. The teen was totally covered in black except his kabuki painted face. On his back he carried a bundle. "Watch it, brat." He snagged the much smaller boy and lifted him off his feet. "Hey. Let me go." The youngest Sarutobi shouted. "Little twerps like you are the worst. I should just beat you within an inch of death. Maybe that'll teach you to run into scary ninja," the older teen said with a sneer. So he was quite surprised when a fist grabbed his forearm in a painful grip. Naruto's eyes were narrowed, flickering red as he fought to not activate his sharingan in anger. "Why don't we all calm down before someone gets hurt?" The teenage girl slightly behind the dark-garbed teen was startled at that. She reached for her folded-up fan, only to find a kunai poking her back as someone held her arm to the fan, but kept it from moving. "We certainly wouldn't want someone hurt after all," Sakura said in a cool voice, her left eye activating for a second, then returning to its dark blue normal state. Right. Kankuro, you idiot. What do you think Gaara is going to do to you?" The older blonde girl said to the sand ninja that was facing off against Naruto. "He's not here," Kankuro started to say. "Shut up. Or I'll kill you," a pitiless voice said from under a tree branch. The young redhead was standing under the branch as if it were perfectly normal to ignore gravity. Across his back was a huge gourd that was stoppered up. "What are you 3 doing in our village?" came a voice just on the other side of the tree. Sasuke was casually standing on a branch with 3 large pebbles. "Ninja from other villages are not allowed." "What are you, idiots?" "We're here for the Chunin exam," Kankuro exclaimed slightly nervously. "Tamari, I thought you had heard that the Leaf were weaker than this." "Somehow, I don't think these 3 are normal," the girl with the war fan said as Sakura let her go and moved over to the 3 academy kids. "You 3 head on home, okay?" Sakura said, patting Konohamaru on his head. Sure thing, sis. Treat my rival right. The young Sarutobi said with a cheesy grin. Brat. Sakura shouted at the retreating students. Naruto was studying this Gaara closely. He seemed to terrify his team to a great degree. That must really hurt your teamwork, he said casually. Gaara narrowed his eyes. What are you saying? Sasuke hopped to the ground. If you can't see it, then you have no idea. Come on, guys. Kakashi. Sakura called out with a wave where Team 7 was sitting on the middle of a bridge waiting for their team leader. What sort of training do we have today? She wanted to be able to use her sharingan more and become more powerful. I have this for you, their Jonin said, holding up 3 sheets of paper. The Chunin exam, Naruto breathed out as his sharp eyes took in the forms. You're entering us. That's right. You just have to turn in your applications. You need to do it a little early so that you can discuss this with the Hokage, Kakashi said calmly. So try to have it done before Friday when it is due. We can go right now, Naruto exclaimed. Sasuke was looking over the papers. We could, he admitted. He looked over at their last teammate, seeing her deactivate her sharingan. She must have used it to memorize the contract. Sakura stopped, trying to figure out why she was hesitant. Give me a minute to think. Did she have a good reason not to enter? No. Let's do it and show off how much we've improved. Her inner Sakura shouted. Cha-cha. They had been walking off the bridge when she decided. Both boys turned to her as her whole stance turned aggressive. Decided? Sasuke asked. Yeah. Let's go. She took off running down the road to head to the academy. 3 Chunin were surprised when Team 7 showed up so early. What are you brats doing here? The left one asked suspiciously. We're here to enter the Chunin exam. Naruto exclaimed. Then we have to go talk to the Hokage about it. He was almost bouncing on his feet, he was so excited. The Hokage wants to talk to you about you entering the Chunin exam. The right Chunin asked suspiciously. Probably because of me, Sasuke said while smirking. The 2 Chunin shared a strained look, then nodded. Fine, get on with it. They handed in their forms and discovered that it was required to join as a team. Huh. Wonder why Kakashi didn't mention that. Naruto asked as he started thinking hard on it. Maybe he wanted us to make the decision on our own. To have our own reason to take the exam, Sakura decided. Well, let's head to the Hokage's tower. Sasuke nodded in agreement. Half an hour later, they were sitting in the foyer under the watchful eye of a Chunin secretary. He looked up and at the door. The Hokage will see you now. Hiruzen Sarutobi was puffing a pipe behind his desk as he tilted back his hat of office. His old eyes watched them closely. Well, your Jonin teacher entered you into the exam. Most likely, you will be forced to use your sharingan. This is to be expected, if not exactly wanted. You mean about Naruto and I, don't you? Is it because of that with Naruto? And I'll just be like Kakashi, with a transplanted sharingan, Sakura said as she thought carefully. Exactly. So, Sasuke Uchiha, have you made your decision? The third Hokage asked. Yes sir. I would like to have them join the Uchiha to protect them against interests within Konoha, Sasuke said. If they want to, of course. He looked over at his 2 teammates. My father is going to be upset, but I think he will understand, Sakura said. Your family. That's enough, Naruto explained as if it were just that simple. Here's the paperwork. I suggest you work on a cover story for Sakura Sharingan. Perhaps a secret clan technique to make sure that the eye will not die out, the Hokage said. It did not used to be, but now it is. Well, as long as Naruto is around, the dark-haired boy explained with a smirk as the 2 filled in their names, then let him sign his clan symbol to it. Naruto laughed out with a huge smile. Very well. I have some council preparations to have in place when this bombshell hits, the old man said, looking every one of his years old. You guys want to come over? I think Haku wanted to thank you guys with a dinner. She really cooks very well, Naruto said as they walked out. Okay. It would save him from ordering out, Sasuke thought to himself. Sakura looked around and did not see anyone around them in the corridor. Clan meeting time, eh? Naruto rushed home to help Haku with the preparations. His little table would barely fit all 4 of them and he wanted to host everything perfectly. The 4 of them were sitting around when Haku stood and then served them from a sake bottle. Can we drink? Naruto asked worriedly. We're ninja. Once we get these, Sasuke tapped his leaf ninja symbol on his forehead, we became adults. Guess you are right. So, should we be doing team training tomorrow? The blonde asked. We probably should. It looks like at least part of the exam is all team-oriented, Sakura noted as she carefully sipped the steaming alcohol. Sakura woke up feeling sick and in pain. Everything looked too bright and there was the sound of snoring under her nose. Somehow she had ended up cuddled up with Naruto on the floor. Wiggling free, she took stock of herself. All of her clothing was mostly in place and her weapons piled neatly next to the door. So probably not much happened. She did not know if she was disappointed or happy with that thought. She staggered to the bathroom and rinsed her mouth out. Her mother was going to kill her. Except she was now a Uchiha, not a Haruno. Ha. Naruto had started laughing very loudly. Looking over, she realized what was funny, as somehow Haku and Sasuke had ended up in the only bed. Nothing appeared to have happened other than they were waking up in a funny compromising situation as they were hugging each other. Dummy, Sasuke grasped as he quickly extracted himself, why can't I remember what happened last night? We got very drunk and now we are very hungover, the long-haired girl said as she righted her kimono. I think a light breakfast is in order. Of soup and bread. After the much subdued breakfast, the 3 genin of Team 7 started to plan their day. Sakura was the first to bring up any ideas. So group combat training. I don't think practicing against the other genin teams would be a smart move. We should see if there are any Chunin teams we could learn from. Sasuke was putting his full mind to the task. He frowned as he realized something in his attitude had changed. His eyes darted left and right to take in his teammates separately. Was it because they also had his sharingan eyes? That he would have to work smarter and harder, not just depend on the quality of the supernatural bloodline limit? Or was it that they were going to be a Uchiha family? How are we going to do that? Naruto asked in confusion. This is where your team leader will need to be consulted, Haku said to the team with a soft smile. I'm sure Kakashi will know someone that you will be able to speak with. We could also ask Haruka. He's a Chunin and maybe he knows a Chunin team that we can work with, Sakura noted aloud. Great ideas, you two. Thanks Haku. You'll be working at the flower shop this afternoon, right? The demon container asked with a huge grin. Team 7 headed off to the academy to quickly track down their old teacher before his classes. Teacher? Naruto bellowed to Haruka as he was trotted up to the school. Why hello you 3. It's a bit early for Ramen today, Naruto. Haruka patted the blonde on his head. We aren't here for Ramen. We want to train with a team of Chunin for the exam, the boy replied. Haruka frowned, but nodded anyways. Yes, I heard your team leader entered you. Yeah, we're strong, but we want to do our best, Naruto explained. And to do that, teacher, we need to train as if we were fighting Chunin, Sakura said with a soft smile. HNN. Sasuke wanted to not be ignored but did not want to explain what they were doing. That's very innovative. Most Chunin are busy on their missions or duties, but perhaps I could get a few of us around this afternoon at training ground 11, the older ninja said, his face grinning quite at odds with his old scars. We'll see you after school, teacher. Naruto shouted. Haruka was looking down at the 3 genin sitting and talking quietly under the trees of training ground 11. His 2 friends shook their heads. They aren't ready if this is how they act. We'll take them out and send them back to Kakashi with instructions to drop out. That Chunin was wearing a lot of bandages to hide the many scars he'd taken from all of his dangerous missions. The last Chunin, a serious sword wearing dark sunglasses and a trench coat nodded. He's right. Let's do this. Haruka wouldn't complain if that happened. But speed that the genin could not match, the 3 Chunin attacked. The bandage-wearing Chunin folded over Sasuke with a gut punch, only for the last Uchiha to disappear in a puff of smoke. Physical clones. He blurted out in surprise. That was something he couldn't even do. The 2 other clones disappeared from the ambushers' attacks. Looks like you were right, Sakura. Look like a fool and set a trap, Sasuke said as they leaped out of the bushes, then took in a huge breath while making hand seals. With a whoosh, he sent out a huge fireball that was more scary than hot. These were allies, after all. Page no Bunshin. Naruto shouted as he made a dozen clones. Each of them unleashed a breath of fire like streams of napalm. While much smaller than Sasuke's grand fireball, they were a threat that blocked the Chunin from charging back at them. These kids are serious, the trench-coated Chunin called out. Sakura unleashed her Jinjutsu, accidentally pushing a bit of power into her sharingan. But to the bandage-wearing Chunin, it looked like she had ignited him. Screaming, he started to roll on the ground and then into one of Naruto's flames. The real damage broke the Jinjutsu, but left him really on fire. Okay, time out, Haruka shouted. Someone put out Goku before he gets seriously burned. The genin backed off as the trench coat wearing Chunin buried his friend to put out the fire. You could have just doused me with water, the burned Chunin shouted as he dug himself up. You know I only do earth jutsu, dumbass, was the barbed reply. Well, that was exciting. It appears you guys really have become strong. When I heard that you were going to be in the exam, I was worried. Haruka smiled at them to let them know he had no hard feelings. Guess I have egg on my face. You guys are going to do great. Well, we can't let you know what you are going to be up against. Training you against a team like us is not against any rules, the Chunin with sunglasses explained. Get ready to be worked hard. The 3 genin just smirked at that. That's what they wanted. It was Friday and Team 7 was headed to the first part of the Chunin exam. Everyone was filling up the hallway as some sort of confrontation was taking place. Even without activation, the sharingan let them see through the illusion masking the sign for the entrance. "Nice ninjutsu," Sasuke said. "But can you get out of the way so we can get to the real third floor?" All of the genin in the hall looked at the sign just before the illusion dropped. It wavered from the numbers 302 to 202. This was the wrong floor. "Hey. What's the big deal in telling all these losers?" One of the tough-looking ninja that had been blocking the way. "So this is an unofficial test. Then I guess we pass," Sakura said with a too sweet smile. The bigger, tougher-looking genin lashed out a kick which was suddenly blocked by the beaten-looking boy with the bowl haircut. He had even caught Sakura's arm that was holding a kunai. "That's enough," a slightly older Hyuga said. "You've had your fun." "Lee. What happened to the plan?" A girl with her hair up in small buns complained. "Sorry, it's just this vision of loveliness overcame my sense of decorum. I am Rock Lee. Girl in red, will you go out with me?" He asked in an over-the-top way. I'm not really looking for a boyfriend right now." Sakura stepped back slightly. "Yeah, we already have 2 love interests." Sakura tried to beat down that voice mentally. That was when Lee spotted Sasuke. "You're the last Uchiha. The rookie of this year. I want to fight you," the green tights wearing genin called out. "Maybe later. I'm sure there's some combat in this exam," Sasuke said with a grim smile. "But we need to get to the first part of the exam. Come on, guys." "Did you see his bandages?" Naruto said as they walked off. "He looks like he trains really hard." The room was absolutely packed with genin. Almost all of them were older than Team 7. In fact, the only ones that were not older than them by at least 6 months was Team 8 and Team 10. "Oh, this will be troublesome," Shikamaru grumbled from his seat. "Your team leader entered you guys too." Team 7 looked far too professional in his opinion. "Sasuke." Ino screeched, launching herself at the Uchiha heir. "I'll take you away from this ugly hag." Sakura." She had a huge grin on her face. "After all, only old women dye their hair." "Hag. Ino piggy, I should rearrange your face for that," Sakura snapped out. "I'm only 2 months older than you." Toji blinked at the auburn-haired girl. With the darker style and dyed hair, he had not recognized her. "What happened to your eyes?" "The battle wound. It's all better," the Kunoichi of Team 7 said quickly. "Naruto also?" The timid and mild Hyuga heiress called out. Hinata Hyuga was twiddling her thumbs as she tried to consider things. "Man, I guess that Sasuke was able to pull up that loser," Kiba Inuyasaka said derisively. "That loser is on my team," Sasuke said coldly. "And is 10 times the ninja you are." Ever since he had found out Naruto was his cousin, he had a love-hate relationship with the loudmouth. But no one would ever badmouth Uchiha if he could help it. "Yeah." Sakura suddenly flipped Ino to the ground, but in a way that let Ino catch her feet. "You brats, are you trying to get everyone angry enough to kill you?" One of the older genin shouted. The bespectacled genin, only 4 years their senior, walked over. "It's probably not a good idea to antagonize them," he said with a grin. He was a leaf ninja by his head protector. "Who are you?" Sasuke asked suspiciously. "I'm Kabuto Yakushi. This test is a lot harder than you kids know. I can't believe your Jonin team leader agreed to send you all in," he admitted. "So you've taken this test before?" Sakura asked, eyes wide in surprise. Testing had never been something she really did bad in. "Actually, I've taken it 7 times, Kabuto said with a nervous-seeming laugh. "I've gathered a lot of information." "Man, we should probably just do the opposite of whatever he does then," Kiba exclaimed. "He's a loser." Naruto scrunched his dark eyes almost closed even as he slipped his goggles over his eyes. "Wow, never thought that would happen." "I agree with Kiba." "Hey." The slighted boy shouted, even as his puppy growled at Naruto. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. "What information do you have on Gaara of the Sand, Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee and myself?" "And yourself?" Kabuto asked. "It will be to see how accurate your information is," the dark-haired boy said with a smirk. "That's actually pretty wise," the spy for the Village of Sound said. He revealed his ninja cards that requires his chakra to use. His information on Gaara was quite surprising. High-level and dangerous missions but never injured. Rock Lee was listed at Taijutsu only, but very strong. Neji was listed as his year's strongest rookie. Said to be a genius of the Byakugan. And yourself, Sasuke Uchiha. Also graduated as strongest rookie of the year. You already have an A-rank mission. "Yeah, Zabuza Momoto really hits hard too," Naruto complained. Kabuto could not help himself as his jaw dropped. "You guys fought one of the 7 swordsmen. And lived." "You bet. We're really strong." Naruto boasted even as he felt the eyes of the room fall on him. "Just you watch. We're going to pass this exam no matter what." He almost bellowed, pointing his finger at them all. "Naruto." you idiot. Are you trying to antagonize them all? Sakura shouted in his ear. She then thumped him on top of his head for good measure. Troublesome, Shikamaru said, then frowned as it looked like Sasuke actually smirked at Naruto's comment. The sudden confrontation between a band of sound ninja and Kabuto was scary for most of the Leaf Ninja, but it was only Naruto who, with his hidden and active sharingan, noted that Kabuto did something with his chakra around his ears. Had he healed himself that quickly? It was actually kind of similar to what happened in his own limbs when they were hurt, something he had accidentally noted while seeing his fast healing in action. He had been very curious after nearly dying at Zabuza's hand. Alright. Shut up and sit down unless you all want to be disqualified right now, a serious-looking Jonin called out. He was Marino Ibiki, a special Jonin of interrogation with the Anbu. Anyone fighting before we tell you to will be disqualified. He had them all sit down to start a test with 9 answers, warning them that cheating 5 times would fail them for sure. Naruto cursed as he was put on the front row. Even if he wanted to cheat with his sharingan, there was no way he was going to be able to do that without getting caught. Then he looked at the actual questions and almost panicked. He could answer exactly one of these questions, even with having used his sharingan back in the academy to memorize some of his book work. There had to be a way to use his sharingan. Didn't there? That was when the first team was disqualified, amping up the tension horribly. Naruto started sweating. Maybe he should work on his gathering information skills in the future. But even when Hinata Hyuga offered to let him cheat, he shook his head. No way was he going to get his team disqualified. Each of the remaining ninja managed to figure out a way to cheat except Naruto. Minutes ticked by, and then the proctor for the exam shouted out, "All right, it is time for the last question." Marino then explained the question of desperation, and that if they failed to answer this question, he would ban them from becoming Chunin forever. Naruto, after the tension rose, and coincidentally, just before Hinata could bow out, suddenly stood up and slammed his palm down. No way in hell am I going to quit. Even if I'm always a genin, I'll still become Hokage. That's my ninja honor. Suddenly, all of the remaining genin could not back down. If that stupid idiot was willing to put his whole career on the line, they could not back out. The wait dragged out another 30 seconds as Marino looked around. Then you all pass. The special Jonin explained that sometimes taking on missions where the chance of failure was death required a strong will. Then he explained the importance of gathering information as he removed his head covering to show the horrific scars on his head. He was almost finished when suddenly a figure appeared, smashing through the window and setting up a banner with a name on it. Anko Mitarashi, arriving. Ibiki, what the hell are you doing? There's tons of them still. She complained as she stood in front of her banner. There's a lot of good ninja this time, the older man said with a half smile. Well, by the time I'm done, there'll be less than half. I promise that. Alright you guys, head on over to the training ground known as the Forest of Death. Anko shouted dramatically. Anko was quite the character as the genin teams all met up outside the fenced-off forest. With her overboard theatrixid requirement to sign a waiver absolving the proctors if they died, the tension was quite fierce. Naruto reacted normally, shouting right back at her which got Anko to try and cut him. He had actually dodged it, and a short confrontation between the proctor, Naruto and a strange rain ninja. You just had to open your mouth. Sakura griped at them as they walked to their gate after getting their scroll. Sasuke had set the scroll somehow in one of his hidden pouches. Shall we pretend to be bumbling genin with some clones? I'm still not that good at the clones, the auburn-dyed girl muttered. Don't worry, I'll make clones of us all. I'll just have 2 of them transform into you guys, Naruto said with a grin. Which reminds me, the Uchiha have a way of signaling each other. Activate your sharingan and watch my hands. Sasuke held up both hands, making a few hand signs with his right hand. But it's all into the flow of chakra in your left hand. Let's use thumb, forefinger and pinky for now. They nodded, though Sakura frowned. Can the Hyuga do this too? Yes, but I doubt Hinata or that Niji will bother being that sneaky, the Uchiha heir said with a smirk. They'll probably just trust in their eyes to attack instead of trying to trick us. They had arrived at the gate, out of sight of the rest of the genin. At the top of the hour, they all entered. 1 hour later, a mist ninja attempted to catch them off guard, shadowing their oblivious-seeming clones through the trees. He barely had a moment's warning before he was triple-teamed into unconsciousness. He doesn't have his team's scroll. And I doubt we could convince him to lead us back, Sasuke complained after they had searched the knocked-out ninja. Yeah, but he'll probably head back to them once he escapes, Naruto said with a cheesy smile. He took 3 kunai from the ninja and looked them over, handing 1 to each. He then made a clone that immediately transformed into a kunai. Sasuke immediately saw what he was doing. Not a bad plan, dummy. He had his trademark smirk on his face. He and Sakura immediately made their own clones. Sakura and Naruto tied the mist ninja up, but not tight enough he could not escape. They then disappeared upwards into the trees while their original clone party moved off conspicuously. When their captive escaped and headed back, they followed him quite easily higher up in the trees but out of sight. What happened? His two other teammates asked about 10 minutes later, as they were pretty close. They were skulking around near a stream and some bushes. I'm not sure, but I think those three are tougher than they look. I didn't even see them move before they took me out, the roughed-up scout admitted. We should probably try one of the other rookie genin teams from Leaf first. That was when the third member, the girl with the full goggles and snorkel outfit, was suddenly buried up to her neck in the dirt. What the heck? She cried out, trying to wiggle loose. The Mist Ninja Scout pulled out two kunai, spinning around to only be surprised when Sakura and Sasuke poofed out of their henge and with their hands on his arms, dragged him over to smash him and his last member into a tree with stunning force. Each of the Leaf Genins then knocked out the momentarily stunned Mist Ninja with brutally strong punches to their face. Holy gods of the seas. How the heck did you guys do that? The young teen girl from the Land of Water asked. That was when the real Sasuke and Sakura landed on the ground from the trees up above and Naruto burrowed from right next to her where their clones were standing around. The goggle-wearing boy had a huge smile on his face. I told you guys we were going to win this exam. Let's get that scroll. Sasuke had a very, very big grin that he had never shown before. This is it. Shall we move out to the tower? Can you keep your eyes active for an hour, Sakura? Naruto asked. No, but you both can, I'm sure. Sakura dispelled her clone to get some of her strength back. I'll just have to keep my eyes open normally. Naruto created a second clone and had it change into Sakura. Okay, you two, follow that Sasuke there to the tower. Try to die loudly. You guys can all create solid clones. That's like high-level Chunin or low-level Jonin techniques, the female Mist Ninja exclaimed in surprise. You guys really are. Your guys should wake up before any of the slugs get you, but I wouldn't yell too loudly. You never know who or what might hear you, Sasuke said grimly. The real Team 7 moved up into the trees, following their fast-moving clones with the two boys activating their sharingan. In only 3 more hours and one sacrifice of their clones against some waterfall ninja, they entered the main room from the outside and looked around. It was mostly ruined, but almost clean at the floor level. A saying was carved in the wall, notably missing some words. Now what do we do? Naruto asked. There's no one here. Perhaps we are supposed to open both scrolls now. The Kunoichi decided after some consideration. Sasuke shrugged, opening both scrolls. They started to smoke, prompting them to drop them and back up with kunai pulled out. The Chunin from Konoha that appeared blinked at the combat-ready genin. You made it here already? You guys sure are fast. Well, it's my pleasure to announce that you succeeded and made it to the next challenge. He then explained the saying on the wall and how it related to the Earth and Heaven scrolls they had been tasked to find. Well, you guys have until at least the 5th day to hang out. With that, the Chunin led them through a secret passage and deeper into the tower. Iruka looked up from where he was talking with several Chunin and Jonin. See, here they are. You guys managed something amazing. The only people that made it here faster than you were Team Baki from the Land of Sand. They got here an hour ago. I didn't think it was a race. Should we have tried to get here faster? Naruto asked his teammates. I don't think it's a big deal, their auburn-dyed girl teammate said with a shrug. Where are we going to stay? The Chunin laughed and sent them to a room right next to Kakashi's. He just gave them a wink as he passed them. Down the hall, Gaara of the Sand looked at the 3 Leaf Genin, frowning as he realized they made it to the prize almost as quickly as his team had. Are they strong? He asked aloud. I think they are, Tamari said as she considered the younger team. Rookies like that they must have done some amazing training. We can still defeat them easily, the face-painted Kankuro boasted, only to be cut off by the youngest member. Shut up or I'll kill you. You don't know anything about them. They are my prey, the redhead said in a grim tone. That caused both of the older Sand Ninja to shudder. It was late that night that Naruto was startled awake as his last 3 clones were suddenly dispelled by some massive wind ninjutsu. Whoa, that was freaky. A whole day's worth of sneaking around. 3 times. Luckily the memories were mostly identical, so he did not have much of a headache. That was a powerful attack. I wonder who is that powerful. Out in the forest of death, Orochimaru snarled under his grass ninja genin's guise. He would have to search the forest more thoroughly for Sasuke Uchiha. By the end of the night and with Anbu scouring the area, he had to retreat. Resuming his guise as a Jonin leader of another team, he was incredibly upset to find them resting comfortably in the tower with their team leader. They spent the next 3 days training, though really, they just traded ninjutsu techniques. Sasuke thought that earth burrowing technique a useful surprise attack, while Naruto finally got to see the Uchiha specialty of the Phoenix Grand Fireball. Strangely, he was not able to get that nearly as strong as Sasuke. You probably are not fire elemental. It probably isn't a primary element anyways, Sakura said while watching them at times. She had copied the ninjutsu and even some of their fighting techniques, but she did not think she could use them until she became stronger. She and Sasuke were both quite tired. Naruto said, primary element. Let's keep in mind Naruto is not a great thinker unless it comes to pranks, Sasuke commented with a small smirk. Well, and while fighting. He was almost panting after his last use of the burrowing jutsu. I don't know how you do it, Naruto. I mean, I can see with my sharingan that Sasuke is tired and out of chakra. How can you still have so much? She complained to the blonde. I've always had a lot of chakra, he admitted. You three should rest up tonight, Kakashi said while he read his book. Tomorrow might be a busy day. The next day they were all summoned to a large vaulted room with a balcony overlooking a massive and forbidding statue. Ino, Choji and Shikamaru of Team 10 and Shino, Hinata and Kima of Team 8 were there, though Team 10 looked far worse off. It appeared they had barely gotten to the tower just under the wire. The Hokage and the proctor of the exam congratulated them all on their performance, even as they informed all of the genin that unfortunately they would have to fight a ninja duel today. There were too many people that passed the second exam, and so there would be too many battles in the third if this were allowed. So there was going to be a preliminary round of battle to weed out half their numbers. That was when Kabuto Yakushi stepped up. I'm too beat up to continue. What are you talking about? Naruto shouted out in sudden frustration. My ear is still bothering me from the first exam and I'm out of chakra, he told everyone with a small shrug. What? You healed your ear almost as soon as you got hurt? Naruto exclaimed angrily. Why was Kabuto lying and not trying for the next level? Most of the other genin frowned at that. You must be mistaken, Kabuto said, hiding his nervousness. Sakura, who happened to be standing between Sasuke and Hinata Hyuga, whispered over to Sasuke, check his chakra. Her own sharingan had whirled to life. Byakugan, Hinata whispered, activating her eye technique. He is not chakra exhausted. As she watched, his chakra levels suddenly lowered, much to her amazement. Her cousin Neji snorted from behind her. Your weak eyes are being deceived, Hinata, he whispered just a little too loudly and angrily. You should not waste your strength. The third Hokage's eyes were narrowed as he saw out of the corner of his eyes Sharingan and Byakugan active. He had also heard Neji's comment. What do the Sharingan and Byakugan see? Sasuke frowned. He could not say for sure, as he had not trained for this. That would not happen again. He looked over at Sakura. She mistook his look for an order to let them know. He was not chakra exhausted. Hinata nodded. She is right. His body was not showing signs of chakra exhaustion. Now it suddenly is. Neji frowned, but he shook his head as he could not tell. He suddenly felt a pang of nervousness. Shino and Shikamaru both blinked at that, then narrowed their eyes. And why would a genin lie about being exhausted? The Hokage asked rhetorically as he considered the skill to hide your chakra state. That was something uncomfortably hard and something a spy would use. Especially one that has failed to pass 7 times. Sasuke said as his Sharingan whirled dangerously. And why, Lord Hokage, does his team not complain or push him to compete? They would know their teammate. And would cover for their teammate. The proctors were now examining the nervous genin, while 2 other jonin them were suddenly watching the jonin of Kabuto's team. Let us see if you have inherited your clan's renowned ability that see through lies and deceit, Uchiha, the Hokage called out. Why would someone lie in this situation? Kabuto was staring hatefully at the brats, though he kept his face as composed as possible. If his mission was not to pass, but to keep up his strength. But he is Leaf, his mission should only be to become Chunin. Unless he is not really Leaf. Unless he is traitor. Sasuke was suddenly glaring at the older boy. I guess I have no choice but to compete, Kabuto started to say. Proctors, arrest Kabuto and his teammates. They can explain to Marino Ibiki their actions, Hiruzen Sarutobi called out. Chunin make correct decisions the first time. Chunin moved up to incapacitate Kabuto, but he suddenly counter-attacked with lashing out with chakra scalpels that felled them both. The sound spy suddenly charged Sasuke in hatred, only to suddenly falling unconscious as he found the Hokage there in his combat gear. The old man had used some sort of attack that disrupted all of his nerves. Yoroi and Misumi found a jonin and 3 Chunin holding weapons on them and quickly surrendered. The Hokage's eyes narrowed at that. So it appears that Kabuto has been confirmed as traitor. Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto and Hinata, you have passed your preliminary and will proceed to the third exam. You should have had more faith in your clanmate, Neji Hyuga. You will not proceed. What? The older Hyuga shouted. I am far stronger than Hinata. And if power were the only thing tested, you would have passed. Or do you believe yourself superior to the Hokage? Hiruzen's eyes stared down the Hyugas without a qualm. You may return to your clan now to explain your failure of judgment. Hai coughed. Hokage, how is this fair to let them pass? I could make them all Chunin right now. That is my right as Hokage. And I know Team 7 and what fires they are being forged in, the old man said dangerously. They have been trained as if for war under my direct supervision. That caused all the older Chunin and Jonin to shift nervously. For war. They are the heirs of the Sharingan, of vital importance to this village. Do not question me on this matter again, the Hokage warned. Then he grinned like a wolf for a second. Besides, this way there will be more challengers for them in the final round. Very well. We will proceed with the rest of the elimination rounds, Hayate called out. Ino has moved up to Sakura. What was that, forehead? It was a secret, Ino pig, Sakura replied. She turned and looked at her head-on, activating her Sharingan for just a second. Oh, crap. Sharingan. The blonde was beyond flabbergasted. That explains it. I wondered how you could see that traitor's chakra wasn't exhausted, Shikamaru said with an aggravated puff of his cheeks. Fighting you three is going to be bothersome. Toji frowned, but nodded. It doesn't make us unstoppable, Naruto said with a wild-looking grin. Sasuke nodded. Oh, how he wished that the Sharingan made him unstoppable and that it alone would make him equal to Itachi. However, the Sharingan was simply a powerful tool, but only a tool. And thinking about that made Sasuke ponder if he should get a pair of goggles like Naruto. He wasn't sure what enemy ninja would have to hunt down bloodlines that had eye-based abilities, but he was sure they knew a few things that could turn the Sharingan into a disadvantage. Pepper dust in his face had been very unpleasant when Kakashi had used that on the team once or twice in training. While Naruto was wondering what Niji's problem was and why he was constantly putting down Hinata. He tried to think if Hinata had done anything weak and couldn't think of anything. She seemed to get flushed a lot, but that didn't seem to slow her down. The Hokage explained to everyone that this last exam for Chunin would be a proxy war to showcase the strength of the different hidden villages. Then it was time for the first match. The Mari of the Sand vs Rock Lee. The blonde Kunoichi smirked in confidence as she leaped down to the ground, readying her war fan. Yosh. The green-wearing Taijutsu ninja said as he thumped to the ground lightly. I see the fires of your youth burn brightly in you. Please do your best during our match. Are all Leaf Ninja as weird as you? She snapped back in preamble. Begin, the proctor called out. Damari snapped a blast of wind at Lee, but he was far too fast, dodging out of the way. The slightly older blonde narrowed her eyes as she tried to send a wider blast of air, but Lee just smashed through that like it was nothing. In the stands Tenten snorted. Given the amount of weights that Lee wore, she had better luck knocking over a brick house. And Lee's skill in Taijutsu made him a monster to fight in hand-to-hand combat. But they were also encumbering him, so he was just not fast enough. Damari narrowed her eyes as she started to ration her wind attacks while keeping her distance. The goofy kid in the bright green jumpsuit was more dangerous than he looked. Of course, so was she. The younger boy furrowed his thick brows. This just was not working, as he was not used to someone being near in his speed. He suddenly backflipped to the far end of the area where he could dodge with far greater ease. Instantly, Tamari quit her onslaught. You're better than I thought, the sand ninja admitted. But you can't attack me. He just gave her a thumbs up, then reached down and removed his leg warmers. Standing up, he tossed them behind him and caused a small crater to appear from his weights. We shall see. Damari just blinked as the boy turned into a green blur, easily sidestepping her attacks. She barely countered a kick with her huge war fan. 3 punches snaked through her defenses to leave punishing bruises. Up in the balcony, the 3 Sharingan users were watching the fight avidly. They were all starting to plan in their heads how to duplicate that amazing fighting speed. Kakashi prayed silently his students would avoid wearing green spandex. Lee grinned as he saw her overextend herself, then had to jump back as she started to spin the fan around her, conjuring up a spinning tornado of wind. So Rock Lee, right? You can't do any ninjutsu at all, can you? So my barrier is totally impregnable to you, Tamari asked casually as she spun the fan around and around continuously. Baki had always told her to use this technique against someone that can burrow or send a fireball at you was totally insane. But someone that could not. Perfect. Truly, you have an amazing mind to complement your fires of your youth. Yosh. Lee shouted. He tried to burst past this barrier, but Tamari spun her fan around, tightening the cyclone and sending Lee flying. Lee. I give you permission to use that ability. Mido Guy called out, giving his protege permission. It's alright in this case. Though only the first 2. Yosh. With a frown, he bounced back to his feet. He seemed to focus for a long moment. Gate of opening. He suddenly shouted, charging forward even faster. He tried to match the wind speed, but nearly got himself trapped into a deadly spin. You won't be able to punch through this barrier, Tamari called out, thankful the wind was hiding her sweat. It was coming down to a matter of stamina. She would have never believed that anyone could just fight her with Taijutsu. It was insane. Bait of healing. Rock Lee bellowed, speeding up even more. But he did not try to break through the barrier. Instead, he slammed his fists into the ground and then ripped up a 6-foot section of the floor that Tamari happened to be standing on the edge of. The rocks exploded into the cyclone even as it started to twist and warp out of control. "No!" Tamari shouted just before Lee bowled through the weakened wind. Bandages unwrapped as he kicked her high into the air in the center of her own cyclone. "The lotus blooms." The young genin shouted as he appeared behind her to smash her back down to the ground. Then Kuro and Gaara blinked, realizing that Tamari was out. And soon declared the loser. "Wow, Lee, that was amazing." Naruto shouted. "Way to go." And he had copied the move with his sharingan, though he did not think his boy nor speed were up to that attack. Perhaps if he used clones for different parts. And that thing where he unleashed his chakra within his body. "I'm appalled at you teaching such a dangerous technique. Now I have to explain to my students that they just can't use that technique they all copied," Kakashi said in an aggravated tone. "They copied opening the first 2 gates. Wait, all of them?" Mito asked, distracted from heading down to congratulate his student. He blinked uncomfortably as the 3 genin turned their 5 sharingan towards him, though Sakura deactivated hers almost instantly. She was trying to conserve her chakra, after all. Truly Team Sharingan. You might even match the Sennin. Tenten blinked and looked worried at that. Team Sharingan. What you just saw was originally a suicide technique. It's very dangerous because it removes all limits that your body uses to protect you from inflicting damage to itself. So only use that if you absolutely must, Kakashi explained as he glared with one eye at his rival. "Better stick to just weights then," Naruto said sheepishly while grinning. Sasuke shivered. He might want to kill Itachi before restoring his clan, but then he was hit with the fact if he died before rebuilding the clan, that task would fall onto Naruto. While he didn't hate his cousin, he didn't really want the leadership of the Uchiha clan to fall to be in Naruto's hands. Sasuke had a feeling a girl could ask Naruto to help them have children, and if they didn't make it blunt, it would go over Naruto's head. The electric sign spun again, starting to spit out a new set of names. Shino Aburam vs Ino Yamanaka. The blonde girl narrowed her eyes at the high-collared wearing boy whose expression was quite hidden behind his glasses. What if Naruto was born with Sharingan and unlimited chakra? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.